Hello, everyone, and welcome here to the Risen Esports Open Rampage Semifinals. My name is Coleslaw. Joining me here on this cast is Thousand Eyes. We have an exciting matchup here in the semis between four guys at a Canadian and Not Good Enough. These are two teams fighting for their tournament lives. There is no double elimination bracket. There is no safety net here. One team wins, they go to finals. The other team loses, they go home. Thousand Eyes, we're already getting rolling with pick and ban here in Game 1 of this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, we are, and we're seeing interesting bans right off the bat there. We got the Vel'Koz, the Tryndamere, Cho'Gath, and Volibear, so NGE getting a little bit more of the meta stuff out of the way, but the Vel'Koz and Tryndamere are just taking away the pocket picks there and making sure people are a little bit less comfortable. So this should be interesting. I'm kind of curious if the Morgana is gonna... No, it is not. We're gonna get that banned away, and now we'll see what the favored type of junglers are going to be here, because the jungle pool is really interesting right now. I think Diana is still really strong. There's a lot of magic damage junglers that you can run now, which gives the opportunity for more AD mid laners, and it can really kind of make your composition a little bit more unique than we've seen recently.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of different things to talk about here. You know, it's not every day you see Vel'Koz and Tryndamere being banned away by blue side. It is just kind of, at this level, it's what you're comfortable on and what you're good at. Matters a whole lot more than what the meta is. You know, if you have a lot of experience on a champion, you'll play that champion better than you'll play a meta champion. So with BAP in the top lane as a Tryndamere main, you ban away Tryndamere. with King
Yeah.
Crimson in the mid lane as a Vel'Koz main. You ban away the Vel'Koz. It's a very good way to approach these kinds of things. If they try to lock in something a little more standard, they probably wouldn't be able to execute without some practice first. So you could scout your opponents and rely on scouting more so than, Morgana jungle good, even though Morgana jungle is very good and it's actually been played by the Gate Firewall a whole lot of times in the past. So that's still a good ban here.
Yeah, now we're getting more picks coming through. The brand being picked up here, and I just want to take a quick look and see if I could figure out if that is going to be a support or a mid brand. Don't actually think I know.
Well, we can say what's mid for the side of Four Guys a Canadian because they've locked in Shen Zed.
Yeah, and that one I really like there because this gives a lot of protection for the Tristana, who already can peel herself pretty good. It also gives opportunity for Zed to be able to dive, and even if they do pick a lot of peel, Zed will be able to survive long enough with the Shen, kind of like a submarine type of composition. And now what this is kind of signaling though is they have to go for a more magic damage jungler. So if I'm NGE right now, I'm banning out the Diana. I'm banning out, all of the AP junglers that I know are on the table for this team, because you are really showing off what your composition is becoming very early on.
Yeah, I mean, Lilia is possibly in the cards for the Gate Firewall. That is something worth getting rid of if you're scouting. We see no ban coming through. It's supposed to be a Zac ban, so we'll get there eventually. Yeah, but it's a good point you make, and I think it's one of those funny things. If you played TFT set 1, it's 2 ninjas is weaker than 1. But in reality, in League of Legends, 2 ninjas is much better than 1 ninja, and a Zed with a Shen on top of him can deliver that taunt into the backline. You deathmark someone important, Shen arrives, taunts them, and that can guarantee a whole lot of damage, especially when you're picking up not the hardest of peel champions here for not good enough. There's no enchanters, there's no shields. There's nothing too scary there. There's just a lot of misbans, and we're going to see what that ban is. It's Sejuani, so there you go.
All right. Yeah, so this does still leave open those AP junglers we talked about. It would make a little bit of a squishier composition, but it's still an option. NGE, they have the Galio, the Malphite, so there is a lot of tankiness now. I'm gonna assume, based on what I'm looking at for the champ pools here, that this is gonna be a support Galio.
Yeah.
But not gonna be positive on that. That does give a good amount of peel, especially against something like the Zed, where all you gotta do is stand on your 80 carry. You don't have to aim anything. You just stand there, charge up that W, and then you just immediately are going to lock down the Zed for a good long time. And it's really going to be a battle of, can you burst through that Shen shield if he's got it before the CC ends and keep your carry alive. The Udi are going to be locked in now, and this is once again another very tanky type of character. So we're looking at Brand and another carry, kind of looking for a two-prong approach. In this composition, they're going to have to pick something that can really put out a lot of damage for the marksman role.
Yep, and we see Sion being locked in by 4GC. That obviously going to take Shen's place in the top lane in most situations. Though you never know, could be the Sion jungle, could be the Sion support. Both are places it has gone every once in a while. I would expect that to mean that Kitesbridge will be playing the Shen support and the Sion will end up in top lane. But we'll have to see how things shake up. They're going to lock into Diana. That's probably their jungler. So interesting composition from 4GC overall.
Yeah, this is most likely the Shen support with the Sion in the top lane. So this actually does kind of have a little bit of impact. One of the changes that Shen did get recently was he got additional additional health scaling on his ultimate shield. And that really helps out for top lane Shen. Because he's getting the most gold out of any of the other positions. On a support Shen, you're not going to get as much health. That shield is not going to be as impactful as it would be in other lanes. But at this point, you might not need it. You just need to be able to give Zed the extra time, or Diana the extra time, to dive in and try and pop these people. It does worry me because there's a lot of burst damage, a lot of cooldown oriented damage on 4GC. They've got, Diana, Zed, Tristana. These are all champions that are cooldown gated. You need to be able to pop people with them. And you're up against a Galio, a Malphite, and an Udyr. That is a lot of tank stats to try and burst down in one rotation. And if they don't get those early on, that's going to get harder and harder into the late game.
Yeah, I mean, the Brand, of course, is a really easy target for any assassin. He's immobile, he's squishy, he's very vulnerable. It's very difficult for him to land his stun if you're coming at him to killing him, but he can buy Zhonya's. The Vayne, who was locked in, we haven't talked about, you mentioned that NGE were going to need a marksman champion that can do a lot of damage. Well, they've picked a marksman champion that arguably does the most damage, or at least the second most damage, Kog'Maw exists, but Vayne is a much better pick here because she's a lot more self-reliant, a lot more self-sustaining in these incidents and in these fights due to her stealth, due to the self-peel from Condemn. So, if you can get onto the Vayne as 4GC, and the Galio taunt isn't there, and you can juke away from the Udyr who's not in perfect position, and the Malphite isn't ulting back at his backline to peel for that Vayne, once you pop the Vayne as 4GC, I think you're chilling. I think you kind of have done your job, and then you're just peeling for your Tristana and letting her melt through all those tanks that can't do anything to her.
Yeah, but the problem is you're not going to be able to do that in a just a 5v5 situation. You need to make flanks to make that happen. You're not going to be able to just run at them and do that because you're not going to just waltz on by the Galio and the Malphite and the Udyr and just be like, hey guys, how's it going? Later, I'm going to go say hi to your friends here. You're going to have to come at it from different angles and really play you have to play it in sort of like a pinch style where you're pushing people from weird angles that they're not prepared for. So that is going to be hard to play and hard to coordinate against a team that is a little more easy to use in NGEs.
Well, you mentioned coordination. There is still always the coordination necessary to protect that Vayne. You do need the front line in front of the Vayne, the back line being the Vayne. Can happen in these levels and at this level of play where the Vayne gets a kill or starts doing some damage and just tumbles forward, puts themselves in a vulnerable position, split pushes in the side lane for no explicable reason, and that's what's not allowed here. That's really the loss condition for NGE, is they have this comp that can kind of play itself. They have this easy front to back, and they just need to remember that and be aware. You cannot have Dream Release getting greedy and trying to chase after Hedge or trying to chase after someone running away from a fight and going past that front line and then being in a vulnerable position. That is, I think you're right to say, or you're right saying that their comp is easy, but that is, I think, the easiest way for them to lose the advantage that their composition has here. They've picked a lot of front line, a lot of tank, a lot of zone control into a couple assassins and a couple tanks, and that's great for them, but they still need to execute. There's always room for error. There's always room for mistakes. Anything can happen when we're sitting here in silver, gold level League of Legends. The Vayne can just end up 0-6 and irrelevant if the laning phase doesn't go too well. And you got to play the game to find that out, Thousand Eyes.
Absolutely, yeah. And, just looking at some of these lanes, too. Just Zed against Brand. Brand does not have a fun time with that early. Zed can really cause a lot of havoc because a lot of Brand's spells are very telegraphed, the big one being that Pillar of Flame. So that is very easily dodgeable by Zed as long as he keeps that shadow up. He can just go really aggressive, get the ult down before the Zhonya's. Brand cannot rush the Zhonya's. So there's a lot of different options here in that early game, and that can snowball into something that NGE are not going to be able to handle.
Yep. Well, we're going to need to see how it plays out on the Rift. Of course, this is just game one in a best-of-5 series, so sometimes you can see teams experimenting, doing a little bit of things before they get a feel for their opponents, get a better feel for what the waters they're dipping their toes into are. There's a lot of League of Legends left to play. In fact, there's an entire best-of-5 series left of League of Legends yet to play. So we're going to cut to a quick break while we wait for the spectator delay to finish winding down, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes here when we get onto the Rift for game one. Hello, everyone, and welcome here to Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of Four Guys at a Canadian versus Not Good Enough here in the Open Rampage semifinals in Risen Esports. We've loaded onto the Rift. We've gotten a look at how these champs are going, where they're going, what runes they're taking. Thousand Eyes, nothing seems really all that unique or interesting.
I mean, okay, so I do want to point out Grasp on the Malphite is a little bit different. Running the correct skin though, Shamrock Malphite. Uh,
Is
just
that correct? Is that a
that is correct.
competitive advantage on Shamrock Malphite?
Yeah, because he blends in with the grass.
Of course.
Yeah,
So it's harder to
it's
see.
just harder to see him. Not allowed in LCS play due to that. No, but running the grasp over the Comet, which is the norm, I am not a fan of it, but I think against a tank like Scion, it is acceptable. Generally with the Malphite, I say as someone who's a dirty Malphite player, as what are all these missing pings happening? But there, as somebody who is a dirty Malphite player, you generally run the Comet and you run Time Warp Tonic with Biscuits. Start with the Corrupting Pot because you burn through mana, and you just trade with cooldown on your mana flow band to build that up as quickly as possible, and then you're actually able to, have a mana pool later on in the game. This does mean Malphite might struggle in terms of trading with the Scion a little bit, but he'll be a little tankier going into the later portions of the game.
Yeah, and I think the decision is basically saying that your Comet Q poke against the Scion is not going to amount to much, if anything. So you may as well take the rune that gives you slightly better scaling and gives you some extra health moving into mid and late game. So I think I agree with the decision in this particular matchup. It could go either way. You can totally argue that one is fine, the other's fine. It's really not going to be the rune that makes or breaks the game here.
Yeah.
You're picking Malphite. He's just not that important
He's
of a
a rock.
character. He presses R, that's kind of his thing at the end of the day.
That's why I play him. I just turn my brain off and I'm like, I'm a big dumb mountain and I run at people. It's fun.
Yeah, and your rune will allow you to press R. We have some trading going down in bot lane here. Both lanes level 2, trading heavily onto Hedge. He's getting low. Gonna have to run and flash away. Dream Release is chasing. Burns down to Ignite. First Blood going over to the side of Not Good Enough. Their bot lane plenty good enough to win that level 2 kill.
Yeah, and I think honestly, just Hedge 20 and Kitesbridge getting a little bit too aggro there. Not what you want to see. The Shen taunt missed. It seemed like maybe they were going for the taunt flash and just did not get it. Hedge did not get a enough onto the Vayne. The taunt then caused so much damage to turn around onto Tristana, and the Ignite ended up taking him down. A lot of people do not think about how much damage Vayne can do at level 2. It is people know her as the late game carry, but level 2 with press the attack and silver bolts, that is a lot of damage that could come down early on.
Yeah, and Shen, of course, not really one of the strongest early game supports. A lot of his value comes from that Stand United, the cross map plays he's allowed to make. His laning power comes. His lane power comes entirely from the taunt. If you connect the taunt, you can be good. But yeah, when you miss the taunt, the Shen is just worthless. He's not doing anything in a fight. The Galio doesn't miss the taunt. That, I think, is really the downfall there is, you have one key ability on this Shen, and if you miss it, then you're doomed. We have a slight attempt at a gank in mid lane. Henry Waternoose showing up. Project Narkakuga saying, well, you're slow, so I'll walk in the other direction. And now we're contesting Scuttle a little bit. King Crimson the first on the rotation with the stun, with the brand passive. The gate firewall going right down over to Henry Waternoose.
Yeah, I don't think Gate was ready for both people to come over. The Udyr, I would not have taken that fight. Udyr's early skirmish is pretty scary compared to Diana's. And just the stun locking there was great. The bear slap came through, and as soon as the bear slap was done, the stun from Brand hit as well. So really well played, but a little bit of a misposition there from Diana.
The bright side, got the Scuttle Crab, so it's not the total blabber play where you go for the Scuttle Crab and die for it. Well, actually, he did get the Scuttle Crab. Didn't burn Flash is the difference maker there. So
he didn't smite Flash into people to try and get Scuttle.
Yeah, and it's just a surprise, when
better
you're
than pros at this at Risen here.
trying to walk back into your jungle is a lot more excusable. We have some heavy trades going down in mid lane. King Crimson gonna have to recall. You cannot stay in lane with 40 HP against a Zed.
Yeah, and that's kind of the weakness with this brand that you'll run into here. He just does not have the ability to trade as well as the brand early on. Surprised the brand is going for the TP rather than the Ignite, though. Because I think honestly, if Brand did have Ignite there, you could swap over to the other Shadow and get the Ignite down and walk out of there pretty cleanly. But rather going for the TP to show up in the fights later on.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's kind of probably actually the most interesting decision to talk about in this game. I'm curious what the reasoning is. My thinking is that it pairs well with the TP and top and the Shen TP. While we're talking about that, we've got a gank in bot lane. Henry Waternoose showing up, getting some heavy trading down onto Kitesbridge. Going to force the 4 guys in Canadian bot lane back underneath their turret. Kitesbridge going to have to recall.
Yeah, and once again, a bit of a confusing call there from Kitesbridge to go in and try and fight for that tri-brush control when you are 2v3. And just, you're like you said, the big thing Shen brings is the taunt. You don't want to taunt into a 2v3. So just not really providing a whole lot and taking way too much damage. That's going to end up costing the Dragon, especially because the gate firewall showed up in that top side for a gank that did not accomplish much.
Yeah, and so that's the early dragon stack. 6 minutes is about as early as you can get a dragon. So, that's going to lead to a very early soul. If the side of not good enough can keep securing those, can keep stacking them. See some trades going down in top. Bap trying to ult Nicklaw. Sound was underneath his turret. This is the wettest of noodle fights.
If he had Comet.
Low. Oh, but there's the shield. There's the unstoppable onslaught. There's the kill right back. Nicklaw just running away, waiting for the cooldowns and telling Bap, you've used everything, buddy. I'm just going to kill you.
I'm gonna be honest there. You have Comet, you kill the Scion in that case. Get straight up, because you got the Scorch, you've got the Corrupting Pot, you've got just extra damage built in. Unfortunately, does not get it. Taunt's gonna come through, but
Here's a gank on bot lane. We see the flash fair not slap Kitesbridge, able to reactively flash away, getting out of trouble.
Yeah, but once again, this bot lane is just so on the back foot there. Vayne should not be able to actually get this far ahead. Tristana should start to turn it around once the range starts kicking in, but right now, with the way that this bot lane has just been focused down and the early 2v2 loss, Hedge20 and Kitesbridge are just so far behind, and they're not going to catch back up for a while.
No, it's going to be very tough, and this Vayne kind of the win condition for the side of not good enough. This is the champion that's delivering the tank melting damage, the big DPS to get through people like Scion, people like Shen. Here's another taunt onto Kitesbridge. Of course, the Shen W means that the Vayne can't trade into it while that's up. That's the Spirit's Refuge, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
Nice, nailed it.
Yeah. Why do I know that and you don't? Yeah, but we'll be just able to stop a lot of the Vayne damage, but that is just not what you really want to see at this point. Like, you don't want to be like, yes, glad Shen can just dodge out and stay alive in this lane. So gonna still just be staying alive, dashing backwards every single time. Right now, if I am Hedge20, I'm doing everything I can to keep this lane under this tower here, trying to freeze it and make sure that you are not forcing yourself to push up into this Galio to get taunted and have to run super far back when that Udyr shows.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately a challenge on Trist, right? Because she always automatically pushes the wave, and you see they're actually going the alternate angle. They're going to push it as hard as they possibly can with this bomb.
Oh, they think they backed.
And they do think they backed. This is a bit of a bait here. They're sitting in the bush, waiting for them to step up. Kitesbridge is too far forward. There's no flag on the Shen. He's condemned into the wall. He's going to fall. Hedge just has to run for the hills. He knows his support is dead. He's going to get right on out of there. Dream Release picking up that kill. Vayne getting her first kill of the game here, and the bottom lane goes from bad to worse for 4 guys in Canadian.
Yeah, a little bit of lack of checking and a smart heads-up play there to hold on the back, especially because they were level 6 and Hedge20 and Kitesbridge were both not. So they just wait for the push-up and then go for that fight. Good play by them, and they're just going to keep getting ahead.
Yeah, meanwhile, the camera going to take us up into top lane. Of course, it is
TP.
The Wen Noodle Flame. Oh, there is a TP.
Zed.
Zed's coming in. Yeah, there we go. We figured it out. Bap gonna flash away. You're already dead, buddy. This is a Zed with ult up. He doesn't even need to use it. Picks up that kill, no problem. Uses that summoner teleport to get there, get that kill, and looks like 4 guys of Canadian fighting back on the opposite side of the map. You see the gate firewall already on this Herald, going to be able to secure that. No problem. Now that Bap is down.
Yeah, TPZ new meta. It's good, guys. You gotta. I mean, that was just a good heads-up play to move up there and get that kill. I wonder if Nicklaw actually called for that TP to give the kill, to the Zed because it really helps. That means Zed is going to be able to get his item down. Still has the ult. Yeah. He'll be able to back and get his mythic done and really cause a lot of havoc.
Yeah, and we see they burn that brand flash. You see Henry Waternoose coming down to the bot trying to do something. Of course, they're kind of positioned safely enough that this time the gank's not going to lead to anything. I want to bring us back.
Oh, go ahead.
Back up to the top lane, though, is I think the important lesson there is that the top laners are really duking it out and trading relatively even, right? It's a really slow fight where neither of them is doing substantial damage, so you can keep it going for a while. But BAP was the one that was pushed up while that was happening, and as the health bars drop and they get lower and lower, there's more time. Oh, there's a taunt missing. Here comes the Galio ult. Here comes the Udyr. Here comes the Ion and the Diana. This was a perfect bait. Henry Waternoose is the one in trouble. Ephemeral Voids gets a massive 3-man taunt to try and save his Udyr's life. Project Narcoguga is here. The unstoppable.
Where are you going, buddy?
A little too deep. Niklaw, where are you? Killing the Udyr's where he's going. Now he's got to get out. Dream Release is chasing him down. It doesn't look like the Silver Bolts are going to get there. Meanwhile, on the other side, King Crimson has shown up to the fight. He's picking up a kill onto the Gate Firewall with his passive. Ephemeral Voids wants more. This is a very messy fight. It's a 5-for-4 in the fight overall. You have BAP just sitting top lane, but the trade is 1-for-1.
What? Wait, we're not done.
No, are we not done? If ever Void's not, we're done. It's fine.
Okay,
it's no one's dying. We're good. It's fine.
What was that fight? Just everybody was there waiting for everybody else to show up, and Niklaw, he was just down there. That wasn't even a TP from him. He just was in the general vicinity, ready to go for that fight. And they do get the Udyr. They trade the Diana for it. And Brand picks up a kill. I think overall that is a win for NGE, as they are also getting a lot of plates for this Malphite. They're getting the dragon afterwards. While both junglers died, it is just kills going on to more important people for NGE.
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime there's a big fight like that where the result is even, but you didn't send as many people, it's a huge win. The Malphite in top lane picked up 4 plates in a lane that was being lost. The Malphite was 0-2. You had BAP kind of getting smashed a little bit in this lane. And then when you pick up 4 plates, that's nearly 2 kills worth of gold. That lane is going to even right back up in gold very quickly. You can actually see that BAP still down about 600 due to the nature of the assist and the extra farm on Niklaw, as well as the plates he's gotten for himself. But that's a huge deal. This lane went from...
It was a lot worse before, so that is a big 1600? Win.
So, sorry.
Yeah. BAP doing pretty okay right now. He's taking a lot of damage, but has the TP. But now
but here comes the Gate Firewall. This looks like it can be a dive. So BAP has gotten a lot of gold, but he has not gone back to base. He does have the ult to get out of here. He's probably going to need to use it at some point. He's waiting a little while. He gets dashed to by the Diana, and he's just not using his cooldowns. It's a debate for this Udyr. The Gate Firewall going to die to the turret. Henry Waternoose flashing for no reason to secure a kill that was already getting hit up by the turret.
Get the Herald
doing a ton of damage to him. The Herald hits the turret for some more, but they're not going to be able to kill the Udyr. And I mean, Thousand Eyes, why didn't BAP ult at any point? He had it.
Don't know. And now, Henry, I don't think you win that, buddy.
No, he does not win that. He just dies. And Niklaw, well, Niklaw dies too, but Niklaw is going to go ahead and hit the turret and take that down with his passive. So it's fine.
Yeah, and jeez, what a push that was. So getting that tower down before the plates went down, so utilizing that Herald very well. I'm a little tilted seeing Henry Waternoose flash on the other side there, not hit the Herald, and then just run back and just completely forget about it. Then just go back up thinking that, oh, well, Sion's going to start tanking the tower because of the Sunfire Cape. It's not going to be enough. He's still really beefy at this point, and he has a good amount of damage built into him, and the Rift Herald is hitting that tower. Just really unfortunate turn of events, and I think a lack of understanding where your limits were. I'm a little speechless after that one.
Well, the end result is a 2-for-2 in kills, right? But it is 4 guys in Canadian that pick up that top outer turret and that top inner turret. So they get first brick and another turret for their troubles. That's going to put them back ahead, or at least caught back up, I should rather say, in the gold lead overall. They're a little behind on the bottom side of the map, but Niklaw now is huge on this Scion with all of that gold being funneled into him. Now we have a fight in the mid lane. King Crimson getting engaged on, going to have to burn the exhaust to keep himself alive.
Yeah, very crucial to be able to have that and stay alive there. And using it at the right time so that the pop was also exhausted. But now, Gate Firewall on this bottom side, Dream Release should be safe here.
Yep, the Vayne does have no flash, but the Galio has it and has the peel. No big deal.
the Galio exists.
A little bit of pressure, a little bit of poke, a little bit of hi, hello, how do you do? I'm gonna go make sure you're not in your jungle and then walk away.
Yeah. So just showing up right here, and this does mean Udyr's free on this bot side. Not expecting the Nope, just down.
No.
does not hit it. Says goodbye. I'm not interested in what you're selling.
Yeah, and even if the Diana does dash there is the condemn always to stop the Diana from getting onto the Vayne.
That's the wrong side, buddy.
What's the wrong side? Is it Niklaw on the wrong side? He's kind of a little deep and getting hit up by two people. We have okay, someone just killed King Crimson. We have an engage on the bottom side. They're killing Kitesbridge, who tried to use the Stand United to get up to top lane to help Niklaw, who's still in a 1v2. He's actually getting BAP kind of low, but not low enough. Henry Waterloo's going to finish it off. The Gate Firewall is here, though. He wants revenge, and with that Scion passive, they will be able to kill off this Udyr, so... Okay, Gate Firewall killed King Crimson. We saw none of that. Kitesbridge died bot lane while ulting. We saw basically none of that. Niklaw died, and then they got the revenge kill on Henry Waternoose. End result is a 2 for 2 in kills. Am I right?
I think so. There is too much happening right now. I don't know how to follow it all. BAP trying to bait out to get the Udyr up there, and a good stop by the bot side there on Dream Release and Ephemeral Voids to stop the Shen from getting into that fight, because that could have gone a lot worse for them. They do, however, still go 1-for-1 up on that top side once the Diana did show up and get the kill onto the Udyr. This is just a scrappy back and forth game, and now we are getting close to another dragon spawn. This is a big one because this will put Soul Point on for NGE if they are not prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's NGE just had their bot lane recall as the dragon spawned. I feel like that's really poor timing on their part. They knew that they had this dragon stacking win condition, and they didn't get back to base in time. So, 4 guys of Canadian just going to swoop in, say their bot lane just recalled, we can go ahead and take this. And then they go ahead and take it, and there's no contest whatsoever, and the soul stacking has been slowed down by 6 minutes.
Yeah, not only that, but because they've got the tempo advantage right now, they're just taking everybody to that top side, getting the Rift Herald started as well, and the bot lane is already shown on this for NGE, so they are really going to be able to get this as well. Kitesbridge.
Yeah, we see a flash away from the brand damage. That's a good heads-up flash. You do not want to get hit by that if you're the Shen support. King Crimson is over the wall thinking about something. The Gate Firewall thinks about it first, goes in for that Diana engage. That's a 1v3 engage. Not going to work out too well for him. The Herald is secured. Now Project Narcogu is the target. The Malphite ult is there to secure that kill. Zed disappearing before your eyes. This is still a 3v3 on this part of the map, though. The Vayne and the Galio are still bot lane. They're turning their attention to Henry Waternoose. He's going to get hit up by the very tip of the Scion Q, flashes away to safety, going to be able to get out. So, 4 guys of Canadian pick up the Herald, but not good enough. Pick up 2 kills, bot turret, and if no one answers, they're going to get a second turret.
Yeah, they're going to back out because they know the Scion is coming, but yeah, that engage from the Diana was not ideal, not what you want to see from her. She is not fed enough to be able to pull that one off, and while they do eventually get that Rift Herald, it was just, you want your jungler there for that. You want to be able to smite confirm that. That could have gone really badly if just any kind of poke come through. I'm a little confused as to what the call was there to try and pull that off.
Yeah, and I mean, you know you have the numbers, right? You've seen Ephemeral Voids and Dream Release in the bottom lane. They've shown there's no way they're getting there. So you have a 5-on-3 at that Herald. I think in that situation, you're perfectly content to let NGE bring the fight to you. You say, well, we have 2 more people than you, so prove that you can contest this. And instead of that, you know, they go in a little bit staggered, a little bit one-at-a-time mode. We actually have another fight going up here. Kitesbridge not going to get interrupted on this Stand United. He arrives with the Spirit's Refuge. Niklaw and Kitesbridge trying to kill up BAP. He's going to fall eventually. This Malphite just not tanky enough to deal with 2 people wailing on him. And Henry Waterloo's going to have to run for the hills. This is how that top lane fight went up in 4 guys of the Canadians' head the last time Kitesbridge tried to ult onto Niklaw.
Yeah, good channel will give 1 kill over, and this does now mean there's 4 people topside.
Yep, you see an engage on the Henry Waternoose. He's going to smite the red buff away, but this is a Zed and a Diana both doing damage. You actually see the death mark come out. Here comes the heroic entrance from Galio. He's going to knock up the gate firewall, so it's a trade of kills, 1 for 1. And now Project Narcoguga going to have to run away. Nicola and Kitesbridge actually showing their faces in here in the topside jungle, but Dream Release wants it.
Where are you leading?
He's eating damage. He's getting taunted. He's getting blown up and erased. King Crimson on the backside doing so much damage with his ultimate. The Pyroclasm bouncing back and forth between Nicola and Kitesbridge to make sure that they go down. Now Nicola has to run away. He's kind of running around at the back of the Krug's pit, maybe thinking about flashing, not actually going to. Project Narcoguga finally showing back up to the fight, throws a shuriken. Not going to do anything else. Oh, he goes over the wall, finally dashing in. He had to think about it for a while, but he's going to get it. And now it's the Zed versus the Galio support. Ephemeral Voids running for his life, dashing into the wall. Never ideal. But with the taunt and the slow from that, he may get out. You have the Udyr on Henry Waternoose coming in to clear up. Now Project Narcoguga is the focus. We're turning it back around, Thousand Eyes. This is just cue the Benny Hill music. We got the as Project Narcoguga flashes over the wall, trying to get the safety. Henry Waternoose with the movement speed. You can't get away from Udyr. You can't get away from Galio. Finally goes down. I'm good.
Oh my
We're
god,
good.
this that was
Explain.
a fight. That was crazy. Okay, all right. So early on, you got the Udyr who got the buff stolen away. Diana went too far in. Dream Release got the kill on that, which got the double buffs. But unfortunately, Dream Release then led the team. You should not be having the Vayne lead the team anywhere. Vayne should be sitting further back. And the Scion, Niklaw, got a really good grab with that decimating smash, hid from vision, and got it as I'm not going to be able to finish.
I mean, this Vayne's just dead. There's really nothing
she's just dead.
to be said about that one. Carry on.
So anyway, past that, Vayne dies. Massive damage comes from King Crimson DGM. Really good play there. And then Niklaw actually did buy a lot of time there. There was a lot of fancy footwork to dodge out everything that wasn't targeted from the brand, and that gave enough time for Zed to get back into that fight and then trade that in a 1-for-1 kill as then Ephemeral Voids was running away.
Well, here's a bushwhack onto Kitesbridge. He's going to try and run away. He does eat that brand stun. It's going to actually be the gate firewall dying for Kitesbridge's face check if everything doesn't work out for him. But he's kind of healthy. He's kind of running away. San United going to try and keep him alive. He does eventually fall down to all of that damage. But on the backside, Niklaw and Project Narcoguga are here. The Zed dashes into the Galio taunt. Not a perfect use of that, but he is still in the middle of things. Deathmark dodges out from that brand damage. The Tristana is here to free fire. The fight is eventually going to go 4 guys of the Canadians' way. And here's a teleport way too late from the Malphite. Bap, what are you doing? You're here 10 seconds late. He gets a 3-man engage. Dream Release is here trying to clean up the fight. He's going to get the Zed. He's now focusing onto this Scion, but he's eating Tristana damage. He's going to go down. He's going to fall. Bap gets a revenge kill onto Hedge, and now it's just Niklaw and Kitesbridge fighting this Malphite once again. One time, eventually Thousand Eyes. Bap going to fall. Niklaw looks like he disconnected, stood still. Not sure what's going on there. Misses out on the kill. He turns his attention to the dragon instead of the Malphite 3 feet away from him with 300 HP. Not sure what's going on. He's daring Bap to 1v1 his Shen in chat. That's what's going on, Thousand Eyes. Suddenly it all makes sense. It's a 1v1.
Oh my goodness. Bap just hiding in that bush. The
He's
longer
like
he waits, the more dangerous
this
this gets.
But Firewall
not going to
has
steal
arrived.
it.
Yeah, the Diana Smite has arrived. A Smite's a little too early, and now they're just going to go ahead and kill this Malphite.
Yep. Or are they? Here comes more help, because fights never end in this game.
Yeah, well, there's the taunt. We have the fight breaking out.
My
Kitesbridge's
God.
going to run away. They do get the Malphite. Now Niklaw's the focus. The Gate Firewall the focus on the other end. They're both going to fall, actually. Thousand Eyes, this is a very messy game.
This... I feel like that's putting it lightly.
There goes
Okay.
Galio.
Jeez.
And now Hedge is jumping in. He's on to Henry Waternoose. Project Narcoguga doing what he can to this brand. The Deathmark is in. It's not working out. The 80 carries are dueling. Or actually, it's the 80 carry dueling the Assassin. Of course, the 80 carry wins that one. Assassin's not designed to kill Vaynes whatsoever, so...
What is happening? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. It's just there's fights happening nonstop. Nobody takes a break to breathe. It is just constant back and forth fighting, and I don't know what to make of it, really. It's just everybody smashing their heads at each other and seeing who comes out on top.
Well, I mean, the end result here is we have someone who can tank Baron, and then 2 of the highest Baron DPS champions in the game left alive for the side of not good enough, which is going to be plenty good enough to secure a 25-minute Baron.
Yeah, so Vayne great at taking the Baron, so easy call for them there. And now we'll see everybody backing. We can finally talk a little bit about what is being built here, as it is the mythics all completed so far. Gargoyle Stoneplate actually being bought second by BAP, so a little bit of interesting call there. I'm not sure that's what I would go for. I'd rather see, just more armor stacking, because the Diana is not a real threat to him at this point.
8,000 Ice.
Hmm.
There is a champion in this game that doesn't have a mythic.
Oh my goodness.
He's doing a lot of damage to the Vayne, actually.
Do we need to talk about that?
Well, he's killed the Vayne with that Ravenous Hydra Shen. Henry Waternoose is running in. Project Narcoguga takes a shadow back into the middle of the enemy team. I don't think that was where he thought it was. So, ends up being a trade of 1 for 2 in favor of Not Good Enough. They'll lose their AD carry, but they'll pick up the Zed and the Shen, the Ravenous Hydra Shen at that. Now they're pushing with Baron. They're just going to be able to crack the base if they keep going. There's not really a lot of wave clear here. Niklaw trying to make the fight happen. His team is not even on the same screen as him, though. But Diana comes in with a 2-man ult. King Crimson's going to go golden to dodge away from Hedge's damage. Hedge still going to come close to finishing him off. There goes the kill. Going to jump away from BAP to try and save his life. Niklaw now in a 1v3. The Scion is very tanky, but he is not quite tanky enough to eat all of this. Unless BAP and Ephemeral Voids just run away and go in the opposite direction. Kiterbridge respawns, comes in with the Stand United. They're going to get the kill onto Henry Waternoose. Ephemeral Void still staying on the edge of the fight, trying to do what he can, but not going to be enough. He's going to end up being focused down by Kitesbridge. Ravenous Hydra damage is here, Thousand Eyes. It's going to get that kill. And
are you running away from the Shen?
Why is the Vayne running away from the Shen? That's alone. You know where the rest of the team was, because they were killing the Galio. Huh. Or the Udyr, rather.
Oh, this is like if there is a hell for color casters, I feel like it is this game. Because there's nothing for me to break down, really. It is just there isn't strategy going on. There is not like this is pure mechanics at its finest.
They were contesting the ever important neutral objective, the mid-inner turret. Thousand Eyes. Come on.
Yes, and Niklaw's gonna.
He's just gonna die. He's just gonna die. He uses his shield.
The shield.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine.
God.
He uses the shield to not get executed by the turret, so that he could use the unstoppable onslaught and scream cowards as he runs away and not even die. It's just a billion IQ, Thousand Eyes.
I am at a loss for words. I cannot think anymore. This dragon is spawning in 50 seconds. Right now, okay, so this is actually a good move from NGE. They're getting the first pass at the dragon. They're going to clear out the vision. They got all 5 people here. Their waves are in a fairly good spot for them. The open towers are not really pressured right now, although Henry Waternoose is going to stand there and get shot by a cannon a little bit.
You got the ward. It's fine. You got to get the ward. And hey, this is a reasonable team fight. Instead of fighting around like the mid-inner turret.
Oh yeah, no, this is an important dragon.
This is a dragon. Both teams want this. It puts them on soul point. Good, important objective. Let's contest it.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. We've got 4 people in a bush.
Oh my
At some point, they're going to leave the bush, but there goes BAP.
BAP is thinking.
Menacingly. He's flashing, he's ulting, he's hitting nobody. That's no good. Not a great engage to the fight, but it's still going to get Kitesbridge and Hedge running away. Project Narcoguga going in and getting blown to smithereens. And now the fight is a flee from the side of 4 guys at a Canadian. This is not working out for them even a little bit. Kitesbridge uses a taunt that doesn't connect onto anyone. Niklaw is recalling inside the enemy red buff jungle. Not sure how he got there or what he's doing up there. It's going to be a 3 for 0 in favor of Not Good Enough. They're going to get the fight. They're going to get the dragon.
Yeah, gonna get the dragon. It looked like a rough engage there. BAP got in, flashed, ulted, missed out there. Was a good flash from Hedge to get away from it. But the Galio ult is actually the real star of the show there. Popped a lot of people up in the air, and then Project Narcoguga went way too early into the team. Just got caught by that Galio taunt, which we talked about was really important for protecting this Vayne, and did its job. So that will be the sole point now for Not Good Enough, as they are just going to back off. Finally give us a time to breathe, as I feel like we have been just under constant assault for the past.
It's only been 51 kills in 30 minutes. We're at like 1.6 kills per minute. No big deal.
My God. Goodness, Kitesbridge.
He's fine. He's fine. He's just gonna run away. He was giving Water News.
I don't trust
hello.
anything. You can say that. I don't trust it anymore. You can say, oh yeah, he's fine.
He's fine.
And then we end up fighting over raptors at 30 minutes into the game.
Hey, you remember when Nicola was like about to get executed the turret and then he popped his shield, ran away, and was fine?
Wait, like...
It's fine.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Oh my god.
Well, right now we're doing a bit of nay-ramming. We don't have any objectives on the map right now. Baron is in 20 seconds, so at some point you got to figure not good enough. Going to want to go ahead and take that. They do have the damage to make it happen. Doesn't look like they're particularly interested in doing it on spawn or wresting control of it on spawn, but they're in the area. You know, we got 4 people in that part of the jungle. We have Ephemeral Voids clearing out some wards, so the Galio's got the right idea. Not going to be able to clear the second ward because the enemy team has shown up, but now we're standing around. We're waiting. There's going to be action at some point.
Sion is in base right now.
Zed's split pushing bot lane, by the way, but he does have TP, so it can work.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good move. Kitesbridge getting a little caught.
Yeah, the Gate Firewall getting even more caught. Pyroclasm doing so much damage. Bounces between Hedge and Great Firewall. Going to be a kill, but Henry Waternoose goes a little too deep. Decides he sees blood, he wants kills, he's going to get very low, he's not going to go down. Hedges, though, to that brand passive, so another kill picked up. And meanwhile, the Zed just hitting the base. He's just taking an inhibitor turret. It's fine.
Yes, you guys got... Okay, like, the Diana kill was great. Now, as...
Well, here comes the Malphite. Bap's going to try and make this fight happen. Project Narcoguga doing what he can. Zed does not win against a Malphite. This is kind of the worst case scenario for an AD assassin. But the Baron going down, they're going to be able to secure that one. With the Baron empowered recalls, they should be able to show up and win this fight for Bap. Bap getting very low because we actually saw Kitesbridge ult in with the Stand United. So now Kitesbridge trying to 1v1 this Malphite. He's going to get the kill with the help of the Shuriken. We see Project Narcoguga going down to King Crimson. Kitesbridge now running for his life. There is no escape. He's going to fall. Baron finally acquired. Trade of kills, 2 for 1 in favor of not good enough.
Oh my goodness. It's just... Oh, okay. Let's talk about what should have happened there. They got the kill on the Diana, and you just back off and go to Baron.
Immediately.
You get the Baron before... Maybe you do send Bap back as you take the Baron, because they can't contest it. Diana is dead. That's their jungler. So you take that, you go to the Baron, and then you back. You don't lose that tower then. You don't then lose Bap to that fight because the tower is still up and he could defend that against the Zed. But what ended up happening was they overdove onto that tower, got another kill for it, but then Project Narcoguga did get the tower. While they're taking the Baron, Bap is no longer able to protect himself from that Shen-ulted Zed from bringing in more people and getting that inhibitor down, although they do finally keep it alive, partially because I think Project Narcoguga walked back into the tower, unfortunately.
Yeah, he did kind of just eat the middle inhibitor turret shot, but it's fine. Kind of like how the Gate Firewall is totally fine. You know, just
After
taking
nothing.
A casual 70% on the Diana, missing the ult, but it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine, Thousand Eyes. We're gonna see a bit of a slow play here. Not good enough now in firm control. They have a vein.
In this game?
They have a 33-minute vein. They can wait for this dragon. It
Slow
looks like
plays?
they're thinking about it. They're slow playing it. They should. They don't need to go any harder. They can just chill, relax, push waves.
We've talked about should. We've talked about
Take
should.
a dragon.
Should does not happen here.
They're gonna send a bush is what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. They do like sitting in bushes. Thousand Eyes.
This is actually a smart call because they're gonna try and ward it.
Kitesbridge gonna taunt away. He actually kind of is fine. Until the Malphite ult comes in, Unstoppable Force means Kitesbridge going to fall immediately. Hedge running for the hills. There is not enough peel to keep this Tristana alive in the face of all of this. Engage. Gonna grab that kill, gonna grab that turret. Now they turn around, they run back. Project Narcoguga is between the enemy team and their base. Not where you want to be as a Zed. He's getting stunned up. He blast cones over the wall, but in the wrong direction. He still has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Henry Waternoose gonna eventually clean him up, perhaps. Unless he gives up the chase, which he should. It's good. The dragon's more important. You don't chase the Zed. They're going to turn their attention to the dragon. They secure the Ocean Soul. Proud of them.
Yeah, and that actually helps Bap out a lot, especially against this Scion. We'll be able to just stay alive against him basically forever. Oh my goodness. Okay, good setup to prep for that dragon there. They knew that I am not going to finish.
No, you are. It's fine. We don't need to talk about this.
All right, cool. They knew that the the Shen was going to need to start warding for the dragon soon, so they sat in that bush, made sure that there were no wards already, and then just pick them off and basically confirm that soul for themselves. Smart macro play.
Oh, here's a flash on the Hedge. You see the Vayne damage coming in. He's running for his life yet again. It's like every fight, Hedge has to flee. He's going to get turret dove by Henry Waternoose. Project Narcoguga gets onto Dream Release on the other side of the fight, going to pick up that kill. And in top lane, an inhibitor turret fell down.
Yeah, and maybe the inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, Niklaw just can ignore BAP. Like, he does more damage
can,
to the
but
inhibitor than BAP does to him.
He's got a frozen heart, so it is very slow going for Niklaw. It's just...
It's so sad. You see King Crimson has recalled. Niklaw knows the help is on the way, but he has the unstoppable onslaught, and he can get right out. The mid inhibitor fall at least? Like, they took that before recalling, right? I just want to make sure of that. No, they didn't. They left it at full health.
Of course. Of course they did. Oh my goodness. Okay, I am just in awe. I'm... Oh my god, I don't even know what to talk about anymore. This is just... This is a video game.
If you're a team with a 36-minute Vayne sitting on 4 items.
I mean, yeah, like at this point you just group up. You just group up and win the fights.
Yeah, you push. You have a Malphite who can engage. You have a Chem Tank Udyr who can run in. You have a Galio.
You specifically do not have Galio ult into the
not
back
necessarily, because you want Galio to
you want Galio to stay on Vayne, peel off the Zed. That is the only threat to this Vayne right now, and if you do that, you actually stay alive, and you do not get that trade kill that we saw, which I think is part of why they stopped going for that inhibitor. You just have Galio peel right now. Vayne is massive. Vayne will obliterate everybody, including this Scion, but now they are going for a 2v1 with 2 tanks in the top side.
Yep, and meanwhile, there's a 4v3 breaking out a little bit lower, but the damage is coming in. The Brand damage is massive. The Gate Firewall and Project Narcoguga going very low, but it's not low enough to avoid getting the kill onto Dream Release. It's just that the entire team's going to fall on the backside. Niklaw just going to run right through the fight.
He's going for the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, he's just going to path himself towards bot lane to try and take that inhibitor. And just like in every fight before, Hedge can do nothing more than run away and die. It's a very sad existence for this Tristana.
Yeah, Henry gonna be finally trying to take this inhibitor tower. Niklaw realizing he is in a world of hurt right now. Brand will be able to take him down eventually. Taunt's coming through, but that is kind of, once again, Vayne dies in that fight because of the Zed. And that's kind of where we talked about Galio should not be top helping this Malphite. Galio should be sitting on top of this Vayne, just keeping her alive with taunts. And then you just end the game off of that. The inhibitor is gonna fall in the mid lane there thanks to Henry, and now Baron is going to be the call here. With that push in the mid lane, you have the opportunity to take it. It's more just, will they actually be able to confirm that, as Henry looks like he wants to start it off. Baron a little angry about it, gonna scratch his back a little bit.
I can't help but feel like NGE could have just ended the game there instead of killing Niklaw.
Oh yeah, probably. But
that timers are pretty long at this point. They had the fight won. There was just one person alive. But, you know, take an inhibitor, save your inhibitor. They're just going to take the fight back. It's kind of unlosable for them at this point as long as they don't horribly misplay, because they can just do this over and over and over again. They use the Malphite ult. They go onto the Gate Firewall. They kill that Diana. Project Narcoguga getting zoned out. You actually have the Galio on top of the Vayne this time. Dream Release going to be a lot harder to kill. They've got the Baron damage. They've got the Smite. They'll get the Baron. Will they group and push and win? Who knows?
Only the gods know. As the engage is coming down onto Project Narcoguga.
Yeah, he's just going to get chased down by this Udyr. He actually gets the Shen ult on top of him. I mean, he's going to dash away. Everything's fine for them. They just need to run to the hills. And by is it fine, I mean it's not really fine. The Baron
Why is BAP top lane right now?
BAP is top lane. BAP does have teleport. BAP has no ult. He is teleporting in. You know, you recall, you push no waves, you teleport back to the fight. It's totally fine. Here comes the Baron minions. They're on the Nexus turrets. The damage is going to be happening. It's going to be a last-ditch effort from 4 guys at the Canadian to try to save their base, but no one really has the damage to make it happen. Project Narcoguga can't go in. Hedge keeps getting focused down in every fight just like that. Malphite ult on top of him, going to make him dead. They're going in onto Dream Release, but Dream Release is only going to go down to about 25% before healing back up. Kitesbridge gets a taunt through the BAP, not going to be enough. The Scion now, Niklaw going back into 1v3 mode. We've been here before. We've seen this happen before. But with his Nexus turrets falling, with not good enough, trying to finally close out this game, there's just not enough that Niklaw can do. This turret's at half health. It's going to keep dropping. At some point here, Thousand Eyes, the game might end, but not before King Crimson falls down to Niklaw.
Narcoguga's back up.
I might be
We're
talking
not
because
done.
Narcogu is back out of the fountain. Hedge is able to free fire with its auto attacks. The Tristana is melting the
Get me
NGE
out.
backline, and they have an ace all of a sudden.
Oh my god.
What?
They took too long. Oh. Respawn comes through. They just really wanted to kill Tristana for some reason. That is actually going to mean that Elder is going to go over. Everybody's dead.
Yeah, with everyone dead, they can get the Elder. Realistically, there's enough time on these death timers that they can get this Elder and then go take an inhibitor if they want to. Dream Release the only one up. That Vayne can not do anything against this squad of 3 on her own. They're going to recall anyway, though, because,
yeah,
you know.
The waves are just
okay
not in a good spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really do not have any opportunity now. I think what they spend their gold that they got, you know, off of those kills and the Ace and the Elder Dragon. And you just prep up. What you want to do now is have this Zed go off and split push. You have that TP available for him. He can TP into fights, you know, have that Shen available to protect this Tristana. If they over-engage on Tristana, that gives free reign for Project Narcoguga to get onto the Vayne. We saw that while Zed did not kill Vayne, got her to very low, and I did not actually say, I think it might have been Kitesbridge that actually got the kill onto the Vayne. And basically that is why they could not end the game, alongside getting a little bit too aggressive onto the Scion and Tristana. So they can if they can keep Vayne out and they can keep the pressure on her and take her down, it doesn't matter if Tristana isn't really doing a whole lot of damage because Scion doesn't take a whole lot of damage then.
Yeah, and I want to point out, though, that we've had this Elder Dragon, and this is a very brief window in which 4 guys and a Canadian are probably the stronger team. This is when the Scion split push into Malphite. He wins that fight convincingly due to the Elder damage burn. This is when the Zed split push wins a 1v1 against anyone on the map.
Yeah.
Again, thanks in part to that Elder damage burn. And they haven't yet pushed up past the river. While this Elder has been in their hands, the Gate Firewall has cleared his bot side jungle. Niklaw now getting engaged on by 5 people.
Do not take this fight.
He's looking. He's taking the unstoppable onslaught. He's hitting King Crimson. This brand is going low. You see the Malphite ult burn solo for this Scion. Now you see the Gate Firewall going in. He's going to get an ult onto 3, but he's going to fall for it. Niklaw going to damage all of them. You actually see the Tristana Hedge has gone down to brand damage. I'm not even sure how close he was, but he's going to die. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-for-0 in favor of NGE, despite 4 guys in Canadian having the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, importantly, Dream Release was over the wall at a spot where Zed was nowhere near or capable of getting to her. So Dream Release actually playing that really smart, staying alive, and they win the fight despite being down for that Elder Dragon. The only people taking damage were really Bap and Henry Waternoose. King Crimson also using that flash to get over the wall and avoid a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, and they were just on the other side of the wall where they could be safe. The brand damage when he throws out that Pyroclasm just bounces to everyone. Yeah. It's a late game brand. He has Rabadons, he has Void Staff. And I think even more crucially, it was just the Zanyas on this brand that came in so clutch. The Gate Firewall went for an engage, tried to get that brand.
Niklaw.
Yeah, Niklaw gonna miss his unstoppable onslaught into the wall. He is fallible here because Dream Release is in the neighborhood. The Vayne damage has arrived, and there is nothing Hassan can do against that. He can have all the shields in the world that he wants. He's still going to go down in a 1v5.
Zed is TPing bot side.
Zed is TPing bot side. Thousand Eyes.
Baron is up in a minute.
That's what's happening. It's Zed teleporting bot side.
Yeah, that is a call you can make with Baron up in a minute.
Well, Bap gonna recall. NGE gonna steal the topside jungle. Gotta extend your gold lead at 44 minutes by stealing away jungle camps, as if everyone isn't already full build. More importantly, I think they're just waiting for Baron at this point. You know, when you're this far into the game and you have a 2-kill advantage on the map for the next 30 seconds, why do anything other than wait for Baron? And Project Narcoguga actually gonna find an angle onto King Crimson.
Oh,
he's gonna play
God.
it really well. That Vayne is going, or the brand is going to die. That was impressive, Thousand.
Wait, are we suddenly challenger? Is that what happened? Did we change ranks?
Project Narcoguga just smurfing in that fight. They're gonna get the brand ult out. The Gate Firewall inting.
No, we're back.
Yeah, it's just not a clean Diana engage. It's illegal to do that. He keeps going in Thousand Eyes, and it never works. He's at 16 deaths. You got to think on death 12 or 13 that maybe this isn't working out for you. Edge getting engaged on by the Malphite. One Vayne auto attack, going to chunk him for 50% of his health. The second one from Henry Waterdew going to finish off that kill. So, though King Crimson went down first, they're back up 2 kills again.
Yeah, and Dream Release is still alive. Has that GA, importantly, so that is going to mean that we'll be able to stay alive even if the Zed does go on.
Well,
and that will be
fall?
Baron.
Is this like the 4th Baron or the 3rd Baron of this game? 3rd Baron?
I don't count things anymore. My brain is mush. Numbers aren't real.
Let me pull up. I think this is our 3rd Baron on the timeline. So Baron number 3 for NGE. Barons 1 and 2 weren't quite good enough to fully crack the base. So
I can tell you that much.
They've got the 3rd one. Elder Dragon up in a minute. We may as well wait for that too now that we're here, Thousand Eyes. Why would we do anything hasty, like end the game when we have a Baron in the late game Vayne, when we could wait for Elder Dragon?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This game has broken me.
We got to recall. We got to reset. Thousand Eyes. We got to buy items. I don't think their inventory's changed. I think they reset for nothing. I can't even. I looked. No item updated. Not a one. Okay, for everyone out there, when you have full health and full mana, and you can't buy an item, you don't recall, because
I want to go home, man.
It doesn't do anything for you. It just forces you back to your base. But they do. Elder up at 10. They've got positioning on it. They're clearing out wards. They're taking control. They're resting the map. Bap thinking about recalling again just for really good. Oh no, he actually. Don't you do it, Bap. Don't you do this to me. They're starting up the Elder Dragon. They're on it. We're gonna see something.
Sion is ready.
4 guys and a Canadian like
Sion is going.
Walking it into mid lane. They're not even going to contest it. The gate
is over the wall.
Goes over the wall. He's just going to die. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Why?
They're TPing. Zed is TPing to help
the mid. This is against the team with
Malphite.
Yeah, this is against a team with Baron recalls, by the way. Ephemeral Void's now going to show up. It's a 3-on-3 at this point in time. Henry Waternoose is here. Dream Release shows up on the backside of the fight. The Vayne is the hero that we all needed to make sure that this doesn't go this way.
Do not pack and buy items, for the love of God.
They got the inhibitor turret, to their credit. That was their play. They really wanted it. I think this has to be it, Thousand Eyes. This is a Baron Elder team up 2 kills. They have to end. There's no way they don't end. There's no way. There's no way. They're pushing it into the base. The inhibitor's being focused. It's just Project Narkaguga, Hedge, and Niklaw here to try and save the fight. There's an Elder Dragon, there's an Ocean Soul, there's an Elder buff. Bap is basically going to one-shot Hedge all on his own. The Nexus turret's going to fall. Dream Release is going to get his GA popped. But Bap, Henry Waternoose, and Ephemeral Voids, they've got their eyes on the prize. That prize is the Nexus. Believe it or not, Thousand Eyes, League of Legends games can end 48 minutes, but not good enough. Takes game 1 and goes up 1 game in the series.
Glad we have cams off. Oh my goodness. That. Am I in a simulation? Like, was this real? I'm not sure what I just watched. Just golly. Okay, so first off, I don't think the Diana is the call. I don't think it is the jungler for Gabe. Niklaw looked good on the Scion.
I agree.
The Vayne was great. Macro exists as a reminder for the teams. Yeah.
I mean, there were some bright spots, right? King Crimson and Dream Release were the only 2 damage dealers for the side of Not Good Enough, and they were monsters. They both had a lot of kills, a ton of damage, and the fewest deaths in the game. They actually were like keeping their heads on and not dying a lot.
Yeah.
Project Narkaguga on the Zed had a couple
really
moments
good.
of absolute brilliance. Was finding Dream Release in every fight consistently. Had that one fight around Baron where it could have been Faker and I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, like legitimately, like some really good executions there from
It
these
was
guys.
insane.
It was very good.
Someone's gonna need to go and clip that play because I'm sorry I didn't notice that it was brilliant until it was like halfway done. But that was such an outplay. But yeah, there's things
Yeah.
to be fixed here. I mean, the Gate Fireball just didn't know what to do on Diana.
Let me put it to you this way: supports actually got the opportunity to buy the Wardstone item.
Did they?
Yes, they
They did.
did,
Oh, I'm
and
proud of them.
that should never happen. We should never hit the point where supports are capable of buying that item. So, uh, that in and of itself, I believe, is a failure. So, the teams, I think the biggest thing is just making correct calls and utilizing your advantages correctly instead of trying to chase 4 kills or panicking because there's somebody on the bot side. You have to realize what you're capable of getting yourself in that situation, because when you panic and send people back, you waste the advantage that you had. Well, one team is like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to lose a bunch here. Let's at least get something. And then you panic and send people back. Now they just win that trade. So I want to see the teams make more decisive calls and, make better pushes here, not just back because, oh God, there's a split pushing Zed on our tier 2 tower.
Well, I agree with you, and I think we could keep talking about that game for another 25 minutes, and we wouldn't run out of material. But we already have our teams in lobby for game 2. This is a whole ass series, Thousand Eyes. There are at least 2 more games of this that we have to go through, and it could be up to 4 more games of this, which would just be incredible. I can't think of a better way to
That's
spend
a
my
word
Friday night.
for it. Incredible. It is one word that I would use for it.
In any case,
I
we
don't
gotta
think
cut
I
to a
can say
break.
the other ones.
I need to get some water and save my throat before we get into game 2. These teams need to wait for us to get in so that they can start the draft for game 2. So we're going to cut to a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes when that draft for game 2 does get started. Everyone, you know you're not going anywhere. You want to see this series to its completion. This is must-watch League of Legends. We'll see you back in a couple minutes. everyone. Welcome back to Open Rampage Semifinals here in Risen Esports. My name is Coleslaw. Joining me on the cast here is Thousand Eyes. I'm going to shout out our producer, J-Dogging, in the middle of Game 2 because we already sat through a 48-minute game that he had to observe, and he deserves to be shouted out for that. Game 1 was an absolute adventure. It was a saga. It was a epic. You could have written a long-standing Greek mythological tale about the back and forth that was Game 1, and it would have been repeated through oral tradition for millennia. That was what Game 1 was. We're getting into Game 2, picks and bans flying off the table, very few changes. We see the Vayne getting banned away by 4GC. They do not want to see Dream Release back on that. And GE gonna get... Well, we kind of do, because the Vayne was vital to ending the game. But NGE gonna ban away the Scion, which was vital to stalling out the game. Big fan of the Scion ban. Last game, it was a Cho'Gath ban, and so 4GC, with the Scion taken away, are just going to lock in Cho'Gath.
Yeah, that is the thing that kind of scares me here, is I think if I'm going to leave one of those open, that's a hard call, actually, because like Cho'Gath has a lot more early game presence. While Scion did get scary into that late game, just the Cho'Gath early game kind of dueling potential, if you are going to be going tank v tank, Cho'Gath is almost unmatched in that. So getting that early on means that you'll be able to have that lane pressure even against some bruisers. And we'll see Lissandra and Lulu going to be the pickups here. As I wanted,
it's Jinx.
Oh, it is Jinx. It is Jinx. Okay, I was gonna say there's a lot of talking in the in-game chat here. I'm like that's probably not a Lissandra. So Jinx Lulu, great pickup, very strong right now. And I really like that. It's hopefully that means we're gonna get a little bit less early action, but never know.
That's a Kai'Sa Zillion.
It is. It certainly is.
Okay, I'm gonna
two champions that do exist in this video game.
I'm gonna, rather than try to understand that, I want to point out, in my opinion, the Cho'Gath is less scary for NGE because Cho'Gath doesn't have an ultimate that lets him run away at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And that is a difference maker, because Nicola used his ultimate like 6 separate times to push where he couldn't and then get right out of there anyway.
Yes, but the Scion also did not get super far ahead early on. At least I feel like if that was a Cho'Gath versus a Malphite, that lane would have been ridiculously stomped. But the other thing too is Cho'Gath has a ridiculous amount of damage in response to the fact that Scion can run away. Cho'Gath can just eat you and keep going. So that is going to be a little bit scary. Vel'Koz being taken here, going to be mid lane Vel'Koz. So once again, getting those kind of like mage supports being played in the mid lane, going to provide a little bit more extra peel, you know, for that Jinx and the extra poke for that siege. The Zed ban I really like, especially when you do have that Jinx. Vayne can at least sometimes get away from the Zed. Jinx has no shot at it, so make sure that Zed is not there.
Yeah, and I think Lulu is also a good adaptation to it. Even if Zed existed, Lulu does a really good job as a support of just saying, well, hey, you're ulting my AD carry. Well, you're a squirrel, and my AD carry has 600 more health, and also you stink. So I think it's a good combo of the two ways to make sure that this Jinx is going to be safe and healthy, is that even if 4GC go for an assassin or two, they will have that enchanter support rather than the Galio, and it's kind of a little more automatic as an enchanter. The playstyle is more natural to sit back and make sure that your AD carry is okay, whereas Galio wants to go in, and in that last composition he kind of was forced to sit back anyway. Now we have Kayle and Yone locked in, Thousand Eyes, and kind of following the theme of Kai'Sa and Zillion. These are two champions that exist in League of Legends, especially Kayle, who does exist, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, is this a Cho'Gath jungle then? It almost has to be, unless they're pulling something really weird. Like I played a normal game against a Yone jungle, and it existed. I'm gonna run on the assumption that is a Cho'Gath jungle. With the Kayle top versus the Mordekaiser. Not a matchup I would opt into, but it is what 4GC are going to select for themselves. Seeing that Mordekaiser and picking the Kayle. She did get a little bit of buffs this patch. She does have double the range for melee, and well, that's still a melee range. It is, you know, an extra 50 range that carries over once she hits level 6. Even still, Mordekaiser should have a lot of control of that top lane matchup. The Vel'Koz should be able to pressure this Yone. Yone does not do terribly well early on and doesn't have the defensive capabilities like the Yasuo does. So Vel'Koz should be able to pressure that early game and hopefully poke out this Yone. 4GC really just opting into a late game style composition here.
I mean, can you blame them after how long game one went?
I guess I can't.
Late game.
Yeah.
I actually think this is a galaxy brain thought. Is hey, game one in this series, it went to 48 minutes. How about we simply lock in Kayle, and then the game will end at 38 minutes because she'll hit level 18, and then we can win. It's the classic Jin Air approach of just take Gathering Storm on everyone if the games keep going long. Jin Air never did in those long ass LCK games that went to like 70 minutes. They just wouldn't take Gathering Storm, and it made me very sad every time because it could be giving them 140 AP at 60 minutes, and it just wasn't. But
Taking me back.
Kayle's here. Kayle's here.
Kayle is
if
here.
the game goes too long, 4GC have inevitability. They know that like chaos is working towards their benefit. As long as they're trading and distracting and doing weird things, they'll get there.
We had a Vayne last game. That should also be inevitability, but it was not. So I'd be careful with your words there. Regardless, the
More
other thing
inevitability.
the thing I do want to talk about here is the Cho'Gath jungle generally does not provide much early. You basically do not have you're trying to hit 6 and basically stack up very quickly. The big reason you're going to take the Cho'Gath jungle is for the objective control, alongside the ability to just be a tank that just pops people in the late game. So that's going to be there. The Zilean will be able to provide a lot of extra, tankiness. Well, they only have the Cho'Gath for the tank. Zilean Kayle brings a lot of extra kind of pseudo tankiness with their ultimates. So there is definitely some really scary late game potential from 4GC, but you have Jinx, Lulu, who are no slouches in the late game themselves, and without the engage from the Zilean, this Kai'Sa's not going to provide a whole lot until she gets those evolves and has, a full team around her to help set her up.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a reason that you see Kai'Sa Nautilus all the time, not Kai'Sa Zilean.
Yes, and I want to keep talking about the draft, Thousand Eyes, because there's a lot that we could mention, but my worry is that very little of it will be very relevant. I think what matters more is the individual players and the champions they're playing. So I like this for the Gate Firewall because on Diana, he kept going in and dying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And on Cho'Gath, going in and dying is a little more productive because it means you're taking up the enemy team's time for like 25 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's actually worth something. And maybe you'll eat someone or do some disruption or get some CC in instead of just getting blown up time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. I like Nitcall on the Kayle. He's someone on 4GC that I trust. If he gets to level 16, he can actually play that pretty reasonably. His Scion was very competent. It played a lot of distraction and diversion tactics. And on Kayle, I think he has the competency necessary to just team fight in a good way. My concern is that the Mordekaiser will consume the Kayle for breakfast and just kind of eat her because Death Realm lasts a whole lot longer than the invulnerability from Kayle's ult does. So, I don't know, Thousand Eyes. I feel like those are going to end up mattering a little more than any kind of compositional sense that makes sense. And on the flip side, by the way, NGE, Vel'Koz, King Crimson's main mid laner, Vi, Henry Waternoose's main jungler, they've got comfort picks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just the Vel'Koz as well, just that is a really good matchup into the Yone in the early game. A lot of people think about Yone and they think, oh, like you hit the mid game and skirmish really, really well, and that's true. But until Yone is able to get that lifesteal against poke matchups, he really, really struggles, and that's not going to be fun to go up against. There's a lot of early pressure in this top side of the map from NGE, and that can really come into play if Bab does get really aggressive on this Kayle. On the Mordekaiser versus the Kayle. Bring Vi up, considering the Cho'Gath won't be able to really gank effectively, this could really turn into a stomp in that top side.
Yeah, and I think that's a concern for 4GC because last game their bot side was the weaker side of the map. and their top side what kind of kept them afloat for the first 15 to 20 minutes. And though it didn't quite look like that game was clean enough for a snowball to actually get closed out in relatively short order, if all parts of the map are losing, the game is going to wrap up at some point. It's going to get there. You're going to see a team going down and losing the game relatively quickly. And the tools that Nick Law and Project Narcoguga have are just limited. Now, the counterpoint is that Yone, with ganks from the jungle especially, post 6, can just eat Vel'Koz. If he can dodge that Vel'Koz E and avoid the knockup, then he just goes in and has nothing to fear whatsoever and can just kill over and over again, especially if the Vel'Koz pushes out. And I think that's kind of the thing that 4GC can look for. That's the advantage they can try to generate on that top side of the map. Because it's not going to happen in the Kayle lane. It's not going to happen in the jungle. It's going to need to be in that mid lane. And that's what I want to see from them. But we'll have to see how it plays out on the Rift, because anything can happen. This series is wild. Game 1 took 48 minutes, and none of it made any sense at all. So all the analysis we make can or will be disproven by how this game is played out. We'll hit the Rift in a couple moments here. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone, welcome back to Summoner's Rift here for Game 2 of the Open Rampage semifinals between four guys of Canadian and Not Good Enough. My name is Coleslaw. Thousand Eyes is joining me as colorcaster for this series. We're in Game 2. We saw Not Good Enough take Game 1 in a 48-minute slugfest battle for the ages. Now we're on the Rift here with very different looking compositions, a whole lot more scaling on the side of 4GC, a whole lot more scaling on the side of NGE, honestly, with the Jinx, the Vel'Koz, and the Lulu there to kind of provide a backline that does a whole lot of damage. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, interesting to see if we'll get a slightly cleaner game from these teams, or if it's just going to be 40 kills in 20 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see how that's going to work out. I like this early warding style from the junglers there, getting just that little bit of extra vision and then backing, getting the sweeper. Looks like Cho'Gath is actually going to start on the. Oh my goodness, they are tilting me with this. They it looks like Cho'Gath is actually going to start onto the blue side rather than the bottom side. I don't care for this specifically because if I'm Cho'Gath in this situation, I want to mirror Vi specifically to stop the early ganks. Cho'Gath can't gank well himself. Just you can dodge the Q pretty well, but you also like can you can stop ganks pretty well because if they go into the rupture, you can aim it a little bit easier, and you really want to make sure that this Kale can stay alive in the early game.
Yeah, and instead, it's gonna be the Vi getting up there first. So Nick Law gonna be on his own. Now that doesn't mean he dies, right? It's not really a surprise in top lane when the jungler shows up at about 3 minutes 20 seconds to 3 minutes 40 seconds. That's kind of right on schedule. You get your ward down before then so that you can back off, play patiently and safely. Kale doesn't really mind missing out on a couple CS here at the start of the game when it's really playing towards a level 16 win condition. So going down 5 CS to avoid a gank, totally worth it. We'll have to see if Nick Law has his wits about him to do exactly that as these other lanes start trading, start beating each other up. Project Narcoguga looking for an angle to trade into King Crimson. King Crimson burning a lot of mana already, trying to poke back.
Yeah, but does have the Doran's Ring, so should be at least okay. Bap already going down pretty hard against this Kale. Gonna get into an early fight.
Yeah, this is kind of where the Mordekaiser
Yeah.
works against Kale, is you land that pull and suddenly Nicola is sitting at 200 HP and eating another E from that Mordekaiser means he dies. So he does have the Corrupting Pot and Biscuits to top himself back off, but that's going to make up for the CS differential we saw being generated, and with more minions, well, actually, it'll go back up because there's more minions for Nick to kill than for Bab to kill in that lane, I believe.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough start, but is starting to come back now. So Bap doing okay for himself. Vi up on this top side. Cho'Gath might look to try and pull off something on this bot side, but not really a whole lot of opportunity here. And that's kind of what I was saying. You know, you see Cho'Gath on this bot side. The Zillion Kaisa should have priority, so they are pushed up here. And they really don't need the peel as much because Kaisa, you know, she has her E, she has the Zillion to speed her up to get out of bad situations. Meanwhile, Vi could look to try and pull something off on this top side.
Yeah, right now the junglers are just taking opposite scuttles, so that's about what's going to lead into a gank with Project Narcoguga like flirting with the edge of turret range here. He does look rather juicy. I'd imagine Henry Waternoose is going to want to go for that at some point. Got to finish the crab first. I believe that crab has been taken, and rather than go mid lane and fight that Yone who's pushed up to the enemy turret, gonna go look top lane, go for the Kale, who has not warded, does not see this gank coming, does get knocked up against the wall, and now has to run for his life. But with Bap not in position, he's not even going to have to burn a flash. And Nick Law going to get out of it by just losing a little bit of HP. Not bad.
Yeah, so not going to go down, but that isn't a little bit of extra pressure now that the Kale has to deal with. But bot side, they're still just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, and you see the gate firewall actually going in and stealing away this Gromp as revenge for that. And you know, you see the Vi gank top line. Top lane?
Top line.
Top line.
Top of the line.
Yeah, no, top lane is the place where the Vi ganked. You know, you say, okay, well, if you want to gank top, I'll go ahead and take your frog and get a little extra health and stuff. So, gonna deny that camp. Gonna go up 4 CS and farm. Not really a deal breaker in the jungle matchup, but beats a stick in the eye for the gate firewall. Probably about as good as it gets for levels 1 through 4 on Cho'Gath jungle against the Vi. So, winning that matchup in the tiniest of ways.
Yeah, we'll be doing just fine now, and the...
Well, is Nicola doing fine, though? Because Bap is walking at him. There are flashes available. We've got some alcove gaming going on. Nicola's going to dodge away from that E. And Bap, rather than chasing, rather than flash autoing, just gonna let him go.
I'm sorry? I mean, in my opinion, it's worth it to burn that Kale flash for your own flash if you're the Mordekaiser there, but I guess you just take that and leave?
I agree. You always flash after that if you can trade flashes, because a vulnerable Kale is way more important than your flash.
Yeah.
Because if you get ganked, you can just ult someone. Whereas if the Kale gets ganked, the Kale dies. Speaking of getting ganked, Narcoguga getting ganked, uses ultimate to get away from this Vi. Now the Gate Firewall walking in. King Crimson is low, but not
Oh,
that
he
low.
lived.
And with a barrier, he'll be fine. And Project Narcoguga, just with a sliver of health, gets out of the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. No one dying, a lot of summoners burn mid.
Yeah, so great job there. Once again, the Vi ganks early on, very scary. TP will be burned from Project Narcoguga, so we'll be able to come back into the lane, but King Crimson getting a little bit of a great early start.
And now we can take stock. We already are at 6.5 minutes with no kills, so this is the polar opposite of last game, and we can actually assess how things are. We have a very, very slight farm lead going over to the side of NGE, mostly coming in top and bot lanes. The Mordekaiser has more farm than the Kale by a decent amount. The Kale, by the way, kind of in trouble. Niklaw walking down to collapse onto this. This is a level 6 Mordekaiser and a level 6 Kale. There is no ult on the Yone. The Cho'Gath has no ultimate, but now they're turning the fight onto the Mord. He is alone in the 1v3, but he's going to bring this level 5 Cho'Gath into the Death Realm. Gate Firewall going to try and run away. He's going to go down for first blood. Bap pops out of the Death Realm by himself. Henry Waternoose reappears, gets erased. He did not want to show back up into that fight. That was no good for him. Now Bap the focus. They're going to get the kill before he gets Niklaw. It ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of 4 guys at a Canadian. Though it might change a little. No, it's not going to change. King Crimson still doesn't have ult. So just take a little bit of trade on Narcoguga on the tail end of that. Very slow rotation from that Vel'Koz.
Yeah, but a wonderful ult from Niklaw to actually stay alive in there and provide a bunch of damage. Hit, I believe, 3 people with that ult. Now needs to be a little careful, but we've hit that. We're past the point where Kale needs to be super scared. She's at that level 6 point, has the range, will be able to actually duel this Mordekaiser a little bit and knock down a whole lot of farm. This is going to get a lot harder for BAP going forward.
Yeah, and this is where the scaling begins to happen. Of course, Kale is still vulnerable to all ins, but is going to be much less susceptible to poke, to that E, to that Q. You see Niklaw just dodging away from them because he can stand a little further away and position a little more where he wants to deny that poke, to deny that harass, and get himself farm a little more safely. And that's going to mean that Niklaw going to start going, especially with the kill and the assist picked up in that river fight. Kale is getting towards that win condition. It's only 9 minutes, but this is where you want to be if you're a level 7 Kale.
Yeah, Gate Firewall showing up, just providing a little bit of pressure, and I think this is actually great. Like, show up, make the Mordekaiser scared, clear out some vision, make sure Kale can be safe here.
That should give Dragon, though, and you see Henry Waternoose going to go ahead and go and take that right now. So the Gate Firewall just punting Dragon by doing this. He's not going to get anything for it, which is not optimal, though maybe he looks and goes to take the Rift Herald.
But you're also a late game team, so it's fine to give this.
It is fine.
You're not terribly worried. It's a Cloud Dragon. It's a single Cloud Dragon, not a Soul Cloud Dragon. So not really the worst thing in the world to give away. This Smite will come through on that. And yeah, I would take giving a first Dragon at 9 minutes over to make sure that my Kale was safe and could shove in the wave.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's the decision that they made. Of course, you usually want to make it a little more difficult for the enemy team. It's sometimes in these early game skirmishes, especially with bot prio, there's always the opportunity to sneak like the 7-minute dragon, and then you give up like the next couple when you can't actually fight at all. They're not going to do that here, and the Gate Firewall going to be focused up. Henry Waternoose going in. This is a Cho'Gath surrounded by 3 enemies. He's trying to put on the jukes. He's missing what he can. He's got his mid lane Yone here. The Vi super low. Henry Waternoose going to go down. The Gate Firewall actually going to get out. King Crimson goes for the flash auto before saying fuck it and using his ult instead. And now we're chasing after Bap and King Crimson. You got the Death Realm coming out. He's going to be focusing down Niklaw. Niklaw doing what he can in there, using his ult at the right time, buying time for his team. As soon as Bap comes out, he's going to fall. There's the chrono shift. Niklaw is fine. He's going to walk away, and it's another 2-for-1 in favor of 4GC.
Oh my god. Just what a crazy fight that was. The Yone ult across multiple people, Niklaw coming down, getting a lot of damage down. And Kitebridge actually also showing up and getting a bunch of work done. Oh my goodness. I am very impressed actually with the immediate collapse there. While I don't think the Gate Fireball should have been up there alone trying to take that buff. I do think the good collapse, the good communication there was great to actually confirm a couple of things. And now 2 kills on that Yone is great. He's going to be able to back and get that life steal. He'll be able to hit that mythic item sooner, and that is really important when going up against the Vel'Koz there that is going to be poking him out consistently.
And here we see it's the Kale getting spookier. We're not even at level 11, and Nicola sees Henry Waternoose coming to gank him and just says, you're trying to gank me? Allow me to trade for half your health. Bap, of course, asserting dominance here. The Mordekais are going to be stronger for a little while, but you're right. And I like the Yone has been really good. Project Nargacuga is being pretty monstrous on this. You see him taking these huge trades. I mean, as soon as I bring him up, he's just chunking King Crimson to 40%, and King Crimson has to respect that. If Nargacuga shows back up and goes for that engage again, it's a kill. There's no barrier, there's no flash. This Vel'Koz is at risk, is vulnerable, so that's an issue. And the Yone continuing to get kills is going to be a problem for NGE, because I don't think they have the tools to deal with him if he gets a lot of sustain going in his build.
Yeah, they absolutely do not, especially if he's able to get some good ultimates across people. That can really cause a lot of havoc for them. They don't have the hard CC type of peel that they need to stop him from doing that.
Well,
Hedge
here's
on
a
a rough
fight onto Hedge. Hedge is probably going to die. There is a chrono shift, but it's off screen away. Nargacuga here, though, going to try and do what he can. He's going to have to flash past the buy to get onto that Lulu. Now we see his turning his attention onto Henry Waternoose. He gets stunned up by the Zillion bombs, killed up by Nargacuga, and now he's chasing onto Dream Release. There goes the Jinx. There goes a triple kill for Project Nargacuga.
All right, so he's pretty good on this Yone.
Yeah.
That's some pretty good Yone play. Well done by him to get that ult once again across 3 people, just popping people's. The ult from Henry Waternoose was really good. The assault and battery to ignore the CC from the Yone and follow through, get the kill onto the Kaisa. Without that wouldn't have worked. Bap.
Here's the Death Realm usage. Bap trading with Nicola. Nicola using his ultimate to time out the shield, but it's just not quite enough. Nicola gonna go down in that Death Realm, give a kill over to Bap. You figure that had to happen eventually, Thousand Eyes. Sorry to interrupt you. Now we can go back to your regular scheduled programming as the Gate Firewall takes a big chunk from that Vel'Koz.
Yeah, and just a really, really good job there, Bap. Recognizing strong up in that top side, able to fight it, stay alive during that ult, and then pull out the win. So Bap feeling pretty good. Has that Riftmaker now, so is definitely much more of a threat. Kale still has not finished the Nashers, so is much weaker at this point in time, and is just going to be looking to farm up. Dragon going to be spawning very soon, and with the extra power that Dream Release has right now with that Gale Force ready, that could look to be a fight that, maybe not.
King Crimson in trouble. You see Nargacuga blowing a ton of cooldowns as he goes in. Here comes Henry Waternoose onto the Zillion. Kitesbridge, of course, does have the chrono shift. He's going to use it on himself. He's going to get that revive. Now Henry Waternoose is going to have to run for the hills. Dream Release chasing after it with the Gale Force. Going to flash in. Gets it with 2 more autos, but here comes Project Nargacuga. The final boss has arrived. He wants revenge. The kills are going over to Hedge, but Nargacuga doing the work to make sure that damage comes in, and though they get the support, they lose their jungler and their own support, and with Dragon up and a Cho'Gath in the vicinity, this should be going over to 4GC.
Yeah, and honestly, big props to Kitesbridge for making sure he could stay alive for a long time, using that chrono shift, buying a lot of time and flashing out that Force Dream Release in, the flash in, the Gale Force, and just using the ult all together. And then with all of that burned, meant that Project Nargacuga was free to just show up in this fight and clean up afterwards. Like you said, the kills went to Hedge, but a lot of the damage was done by this Yone.
Yeah, and he's at 504 on the Yone. Hedge with those 2 kills picked up. Now goes 2-1-2 on the Kaisa. And you know, in draft, we had our eyes on the Kale, but in game, it's really the Yone making it happen here. It's everywhere Nargacuga shows up, there's a lead being generated for 4GC. Not 100% kill participation, and it gets another solo kill for, actually not technically a solo kill, because Kitesbridge there with the speed up assist. But I mean, look at that, he just makes that Vel'Koz disappear. Now you see him, now you don't, and they're going to start knocking on this turret. There is very little anyone on the side of NGE can do about this Yone.
Yeah, this is getting very scary. Like we said, there's not a lot of hard crowd control to stop Yone. I think honestly at this point you're hitting a situation where Bap might actually have to hold on to this ultimate to just buy time for this Jinx, because the Jinx is doing well. The Jinx is pretty strong right now, but just nowhere near to the same level as this Yone. Lots of damage getting onto Dream Release now.
Yeah, and normally you think that the Yone is going to have to get a QSS to stay alive inside the Death Realm and avoid dying, right? That's kind of the okay. Well, there goes Nicola. Um, that's just run away, buddy. You have 200 HP. You died on one ability. I'm not even going to talk about that. What I wanted to talk about was the Death Realm. Normally you think like, okay, well, if the Mordekaiser wants to ult the Yone, you think, well, you need a QSS to get out of it. In this situation, the Yone is so freaking far ahead that if he goes into the Death Realm, he
wants it.
Kill the Mordekaiser. He says, "Oh, you're bringing me into a 1v1? Thank you.
You're approaching me.
So convenient. I'll just kill you, and then I'll exit, and then I'll kill your team." Here comes a teleport into top lane. Kitesbridge going to walk it back, going to try and get the stun. He just barely misses it. Niklaw is here. He's out for revenge. The Death Realm is available is the concern, and Bap can use it on someone if he wants to. There he goes. He yoinks Niklaw into the Death Realm right as the bombs would have stunned him. Niklaw using his ult himself to save himself some damage. The Death Realm times out. Bap goes down. He's going to give the kill over to the support Zillion. The wrong person picking up that kill, but it is still a kill. The issue, they're losing their mid turret if they can't get there to save it soon enough.
Yeah, a lot burned to get that Mordekaiser, but there's not enough power yet to take this tower down. Hedge is going to be able to buy a little bit of time. Yone's on the way. Losing that tower, not the worst thing in the world, and now Gatefire while fighting this Vi.
Yeah, and I'm not sure this Vi wants this. Niklaw unfortunately tanks turret. That's why he goes down, but he gets the revenge kill, and had he not been pulling turret aggro, I think he would have been very fine. Just made the mechanical misplay of auto-attacking before flashing out of turret range. But still, it's an assist for 4GC, so they end up plus 150 gold on that play. And especially when you're trading kills onto a Kayle, you're very happy.
Yeah, this also gives the opportunity for a free Rift Herald because it was the jungler that went down, and you have that Cho'Gath. You can basically just keep stacking up this Cho'Gath and make him super big. I want to check the stacks right now. It's sitting at 7 stacks right now. How many of those are the minions? Still has another minion to eat too. So that's pretty good for right now where this Cho'Gath is. Somebody needs to pick up that buff. Thank you. Yeah, and Nicola hitting level 11 now means that this is only getting scarier and scarier as Bap gonna be eventually hit a point where he cannot 1v1 the Kayle anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be another few levels. It's not here yet, but it's
more about the items.
Yeah, the Riftmaker
than it is levels.
I think is what this Kayle is building. That's what Leech and Lear builds into. And the
Yes.
Omnivamp is super clutch for the Kayle because with the AoE damage to minions, you can sustain a little harder. Actually, you see the two of them trading now. It's already looking pretty good for the level 11 Kayle. Bap already having to run away, use his heal. That was not a great trade for the Mordekaiser. It's not going to get any better for him from here on out. So, got to be a little anxious about how that one went. But not the end of the world just yet. We're just chilling. We've got a dragon spawning in 35 seconds. Both teams kind of hovering vaguely in the area like they want it. A trinket being dropped onto that dragon, 35 seconds before it spawns, as one does. And, Bushwhack coming in from NGE. We've seen this a couple times before. It's worked out for them a little bit in the past. Not sure I'm confident in this one unless Niklaw walks into it.
He might.
There's a question mark ping on it.
Go up on it. They have an idea. Yeah, they have the ability to check the bush here, and they use it right.
Yep, and now you see it looks like there might be a fight.
Yone's not here.
Yep, you need the teleport in from the Yone. Here comes the Lifeform Disintegration Ray onto the Gate Firewall. He's super low. He's polymorphed. He's going down. So is Hedge. Kitesbridge going to have to ult himself to stay alive. Finally, Project Nargacuga arrives. The Kayle ult goes onto him right as he goes out. This is a disaster for 4GC. Everything that could be going wrong is going wrong. Nargacuga has to flash away to safety, but he's going to get yoinked back in by that Mordekaiser. Triple kill going over to Bap. Kitesbridge, the last one standing. He's not going to be able to do anything. That's a 4-for-1. No, 5-for-1. Quadra kill for Bap and a dragon going over to NGE.
All right, so that was a very good fight call there from NGE as they go in, get the engage while the Yone is not there. You can see 7 of the 13 kills are on this Yone. and he showed up, went in on a bunch of people, but then, like you said, the Kayle ult went on him as he was going back, so that Kayle ult was basically used for nothing, and Kayle then walked up expecting Yone to still be there and creating pressure, and got caught out by everybody else. So a really big misplay opens up an opportunity for NGE. 7-3 now on this Mordekaiser. I think ideally you would have liked to see that go on to the Jinx, but you're gonna take what you can get, especially when the Yone was starting to get that ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be too upset about a 5-for-1 ace and a dragon when you're the ones getting the 5 kills in the dragon. That's kind of nice. And the Mordekaiser can leverage those kills really well. We saw him just beginning to lose the side lane split push against Kayle. Suddenly, 4 kills. That's going to be a nice crisp 1200 gold. That's about half an item. Going to keep him ahead of the Kayle in build path. Going to keep him able to hold his own in that lane for a little while longer. Buy some time for the Jinx to keep scaling.
Absolutely, yeah. And she has her 2 core items, so this is a pretty good power spike for the Jinx. Getting that Gale Force, getting the Hurricane as well. And now, especially when you have that Mordekaiser as strong as he is at this point, he basically bought himself a lot more time to be able to 1v1 this Kayle, probably even 1v1 this Yone now with the Zhonya's up as well. So now you basically have a split push pressure that is going to buy so much time for Dream Release to get more items down. And that will also mean that the Lulu is going to get more levels in that Whimsy, which should be being maxed second, and that is a huge one to stop both the Kayle and the Yone from doing damage.
You know how you said the Whimsy should be getting maxed second? Oh, actually, you know how Henry Waternoose died between the enemy bot turrets?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. As I was gonna say, Ephemeral Voids has 2 points in Q and 2 points in W, as one does, you know.
All right, flip the coin. Which is it going to be? Can we get another prediction in the chat?
Yeah.
Is Ephemeral going to max Q second or max the W second?
Because of course we haven't made that decision yet at level 11 because we have 2 points in both skills. It's fine. I want to hear. I'm curious. Was one of them a mistake? Is Nikolaj just going to die? He's going to get Super Mega Death Rocketed. He's totally fine. There's no one there to follow that up. It's okay.
Yeah, a little bit over aggressive. I don't think that one was ever going to kill, but Bap, this is the fight we kind of wanted to see. Is Bap going to be able to win against this Yone? Able to basically just soak up the damage like it's nothing, and with the Vel'Koz showing as well, only level 12 on this Vel'Koz right now, falling behind as he's trying to roam around and has died only died that one time in lane. So I'm not sure where a lot of the farm and experience has gone. That mean that King Crimson didn't get it.
Well, we have slowed down. We have calmed ourselves after game 1. Thousand Eyes. We're actually we're not fighting. We're not team fighting. And for the first time in 2 games, we can kind of just take stock of things. We have 2 dragons to 1. There's no soul coming off the table super soon. There's a dragon coming up in a minute that neither team is positioning for quite yet, but it looks like Bat might be recalling to go and contest it, and I'm proud of him for that. Scaling advantage is kind of... I mean, you want to give it to the Kayle, but Jinx Lulu's kind of also monstrous in late game, so I like you could say the Kale's a little better, but it's not going to be that much of a difference. So I think what we're really looking at here is it's even though we're 25 minutes into the game, there's a little bit of just who can execute better here still. That's really what's going to decide this, I think.
Absolutely. I think, too, it's just whenever your gold is all focused into one player, it becomes incredibly crucial that player plays things correctly. When you see plays like that, Yone being up in that top side, TPing in late, that costs your team so much more despite the fact that you had that lead. So keep your eyes on Yone. He needs to keep making plays like these and hopefully spread the gold around.
Plays like this one where he goes in and King Crimson is dead before the fight even starts. There's no Vel'Koz. There's no Lifeform Disintegration Ray. That means that 4GC have the win in the fight. They're going to be able to take this down. Henry Waternoose goes in, but it's too little too late. Nikolaj free to free fire. Project Nargacuga in the death realm with Bap. not actually winning that one nearly as hard as we thought he would, but he exits, he gets the KO ult, he's totally fine. Hedge gonna finally use that killer instinct to go in, clean up the fight, and it's a 3-for-0 and a dragon in favor of 4 guys and a Canadian. A much better fight from them. Nargacuga starting the fight instead of finishing it, making sure that nothing can go wrong for them.
Yeah, and really smart play too, just using the E and then ulting in, getting all that damage down, and then popping right back out to get King Crimson there with the good wards that were ready to catch out this Vel'Koz. Now, Dream Release getting a lot of damage on Nicola. Might need to be a little careful, but we'll just back
Nicola
off.
thinking, I'm a level 14 KO, I'm a solo laner, I should be able to kill this 80 carry, and Dream Release saying, well, I'm a Jinx with AoE Rockets, gonna pop the Super Mega Death Rocket, not gonna find anyone. Kitesbridge gonna find a stun on the King Crimson, who's gonna have to flash away. Doesn't even look like 4GC want to recall just yet. They're gonna steal away the jungle first, take that red buff, take those Raptors, and now they'll use their Baron recalls to go back to base, play this the smart way, and we'll see if they can start knocking down turrets and maybe even an inhibitor here with this push.
Nicola is level 15 now. I want to check.
One more.
Just hit it.
One
Almost
more.
level 16. Yeah, 15 out of 16. Monka S in the chat. Good lord. I'm just glad this game is a little bit more reined in than game one. And I mean, outside of that one bad fight around the dragon, where NGE did start coming back, it has been pretty consistently in favor of this Yone and the rest of 4GC. So now Nicola going to be picking up that blue buff, trying to just get as much experience into him as possible, because once that 16 hits, Mordekaiser's going to have a rough time with him.
Yeah, rather than say what I was about to say, I'm going to say the other thing I had in my mind, was that these junglers have kind of traded roles in this game. You know, last game it was the Gate Firewall on Diana, who had no choice but to go in, and kept going in, and kept dying. This game, it's Henry Waternoose, who has no choice but to go in. That's all Vi can do. And he keeps going in, and he just keeps getting popped for it. And I think that's a big difference maker. I think the other big difference maker here in this game is that it's a much more commanding lead for 4GC. They're kind of in the driver's seat. We've got a Death Realm being popped by Bap. Nicola is going to have to pop his KO. Bap uses the Zanyas to dodge out on the invulnerability, but you can't win against a level 16 KO. Here's the Zillion to make sure that Henry Waternoose doesn't win it. Chrono Shift not even needed. Nicola, he's online, he is active, he is KO, he is level 16. He gets a double kill, and that is a very big problem if you are NGE, because now what do? You're against Baron, you're against level 16 KO. There's a Cho'Gath tanking up turret shots from your jungle.
I'm just really confused as to why Bap started that fight with the ultimate there when you had the jungler coming to help you. You just basically opted into a 1v1 when you had a second person there to help you. Ephemeral Void's dodging out some stuff there, gonna stay alive. But this is basically just now pushing for endgame. Nicola has hit that 16 point. Kale is online and ready to go. And this should end up being a pretty game-ending play soon.
Yeah, there goes Hedge. He's showing off a little bit of flashiness, using his PL force onto Dream Release, forcing the Jinx flash away. The Gate Firewall now getting a little angry. There's a big shield from that Gargoyle Stone Plate. Nargacuga in bot lane. King Crimson has a level 16 KO coming in behind him. That's the kind of thing you hate to see. Nargacuga gonna finish off that kill, so that's going to be bot turret finally falling down. Top and mid have gone down as well. Waternoose flashing in, doing nothing in particular. Finally pops that ultimate, but he pops right after, gonna go down, and Nicola doing as much damage as he can. Yone ult not going to connect, but that's okay. Nargacuga can just run out of that one. Nicola gets yoinked in by the Mordekaiser, pops his ultimate, flashes in like a lunatic that he is, and with the Chrono Shift, he's allowed to do it. He's going to resurrect. He'll be fine. He's going to kill Bat from inside the Death Realm. Nargacuga chasing down the NGE backline. They're running for the hills. Dream Release and Ephemeral going to have to go back to Fountain to heal back up. The third inhibitor is on the cards. They're going to knock that one down. They've got minions on the Nexus turrets, and 4 guys the Canadian, after a very long, drawn-out, well-fought battle of a Game 1, they come back in Game 2, they get a lead, and they cleanly close it out here in 30 minutes. A very different look, a much more commanding win for them, and they tie the series back up at 1-1.
Yeah, and a great play by them, specifically Project Nargacuga, I think is the key player in that game. Gets such a insane lead early on. The Vel'Koz is over 100 CS down and just makes so many big plays out of it. And we saw when they did play around this Yone, they were able to win every single fight. The only fight lost being that TP play in. Once that started going, once they recognized, okay, just Yone, we don't make plays unless you're around, they were flying and there was no opportunity once that late game scaling came in. You know, you get that early Yone a lead and it becomes so easy to scale into that late game.
Yeah, and I mean, with the lead and with the scaling, it looked clean. They didn't really look too lost. They gave up the one dragon, but aside from that, they won every fight. They took every objective. They gave very little away. And Four Guys the Canadian had, I mean, I don't want to call it like a totally dominant win. It did still take 30 minutes, but they were in the driver's seat the whole way. There was a slip up that didn't lose them the game. They had that inevitability. They had that early game advantage. They leveraged both. As soon as Kale takes 16, the game basically closed itself out. That's a very good way to come back from a 48-minute loss in game one. And now, Thousand Eyes, we're in a best-of-5 series. Each team has won one game. So we're going to have to cut to a quick break. And when we're back, we can resume what is now effectively a best-of-3 series. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back here to Game 3 of the Risen Open Rampage semifinals. We have a 1-to-1 series here between Four Guys the Canadian and Not Good Enough. We already have the bans flying off the table. We got a bit of a late start here as the draft began before we were quite situated, so we get caught up to speed. Vayne, Trendemir, Volibear, they're banned. You're all caught up. So easy at this. My name is Coleslaw. Joining me on this cast is Thousand Eyes. Thousand Noise, we had a 48-minute game one that was a mess. Then the 20 or 30-minute game two that was a really commanding win for four guys and a Canadian. These teams have not swapped sides yet. They're back and at it again. The Yone is banned off the table so that Project Nargacuga cannot do what he did again. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. This does mean Morgana is available if they want to take that away.
They do.
We'll see if they do. Yeah. She is kind of the premier pick of this patch. So not surprising on that end. And now NGE need to pick up probably their bot lane here. We'll see if they
Lux. That is
Lux.
their bot lane, actually.
Yeah.
That
is most likely the support Lux. And
it is.
The Ezreal as well. So going for a heavy poke bot lane, a very stark difference than what we saw in game two. And I think that's great for them because their game one performance was really what pushed them to that win eventually. And I'd like to see them kind of prioritize that bot side, get the Ezreal and Lux ahead, utilize that poke, and try and force out, you're picking a Kai'Sa into this. This is really going to be a rough lane no matter what you really pick here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is an interesting pickup that I was waiting to see if it would be a thing that NGE would go for at any point in time. Lux is Ephemeral Void's main. They are a Lux Galio player. We saw Galio in game one, and it was fine, but they play more Lux than Galio, and I was kind of thinking, at some point you might imagine that they want to go for that. They're going to go for it here, blind picking away their bot lane. That's a safe AD carry and a good comfort pick for their support. But it's going to be vulnerable here because with the Zac locked in, that's Morgana support. Dark Binding, if it connects on either of those champions, they are extremely exposed. They do not have much they can do. Dark Binding, kind of a good way to catch an Ezreal. If he doesn't have the reaction speed, or his E has already been used, or it's just point blank and he can't react to it, then Dark Binding's a great way to get him to stay put. Ezreal's entire thing is that he's hard to catch, and that ability means he's caught. So that can be a powerful tool for 4GC. Of course, the same as the other way around. The light binding onto a Kai'Sa can be a very big problem, especially when Ezreal can capitalize on it with damage. Brand going to be the final lock-in for the side of NGE on this first phase. They're going to lock that in from mid lane yet again. King Crimson going back to what he used in game one. The Brand did look a lot better than the Vel'Koz did, so I like that for them.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the Brand again. I think this really kind of gives them a heavy siege type composition. I was gonna say, hot take, you could have Morgana jungle Zac support. That is technically a thing that could happen.
No way.
but most likely gonna be the Zac in the jungle and the Morgana support. I kind of wish they would have kept the Morgana jungle and just gone for maybe a hard engage support or just a really safe enchanter in the bot side to stay alive. But they're going to be going for the Morgana and trying to basically bind for bind and utilize that Black Shield to make sure that Kai'Sa does not get obliterated by getting caught out here. The Sylas is going to be the pickup now for the top side, and the Kayle is coming through once again. Now, I think this is an even harder matchup for the Kayle. Mordekaiser, while he does do well in the early game...
I'm going to cut you off because that's Nunu.
All right, well, okay. I'm just a fool.
Nobody
look at me. I'm a fool.
I'm sorry. I was gonna let you finish talking, but then you started talking about the Kayle Sylas matchup. There is no Sylas yet. It is Nunu and Willem being locked in for the jungle. That's another unique jungle pick we're getting in this series. But Kayle top and Zed are there, and we're gonna have to see how they want to answer the Kayle top. I mean, Sylas is a very viable pick. Mordekaiser is available, and it did just fine in that lane, so I can't imagine they'd be too opposed to going back to that one. Gnar is also a thing.
Gnar is also, I think, a good pickup here. Just a lot of pressure on that Kayle. A lot of easier to utilize pressure, because with Mordekaiser, you got to make sure you're hitting that E more than anything, and that can be dodged out. Gnar's damage is a lot harder to avoid. So I do like this. It also gives them extra AD damage, where if they did go something like the Sylas or the Mordekaiser, you would have Lux, who's AP, Brand, who's AP, Nunu, who's AP, and Ezreal, who has some AP damage as well. You want to get that AD damage and kind of be a little bit more of a threat So that's going to be good for them. The Ezreal versus the Zed, once you get into team fights, is great. Going to be able to stay alive a lot easier than that Vayne will be. And I like this composition from NGE. It's really just a matter of can they utilize their poke and siege well enough to be able to get advantages and take towers down early.
Yeah, and this is a mix of going back to what worked, right? You go back to the brand and you say that was good. With Udyr banned, you kind of want to go for a jungler that's at least a little comparable to Udyr. Nunu's the next best thing, with the running fast and having hard CC when he runs at you. Big idea. Objective control, very good on that champion. And just a little less risky, Like the Vi, it was a problem for NGE because we saw Henry Waternoose flying into fights and getting exploded. Nunu doesn't really do that. He can fly into fights, but he's tanky. He has the absolute zero to give himself a shield, and he can just live a little longer. So those are the two picks that are kind of comparable to what worked for them in game one. Lux is a comfort pick that they haven't yet gone to, but I like seeing that. Gnar, I think, is a better answer to the Kayle than the Mordekaiser is. So I'm in agreement. I think this is a good composition for NGE. I think they're doing the right thing. They're making the right adaptations. They're going to picks that make a lot of sense for them. But then we can look at 4GC's comp, and there's a lot going well there too.
Yeah, I think it's got a good mix as well. You've got the Zed and the Zac for that early game pressure. The Morgana can also bring some of that. If you start getting ahead on that, the Morgana pressure can really push things to a tempo that you can't keep up with. The Zed into brand we saw did really well for Project Nargacuga, and did even in the late game, they did a good job on that. Zac is one of those junglers that I really think people underestimate a lot of times. Usually better on that red side because you can use that alcove right next to the turret and the bot side to be able to get in on the bot side where people don't ward all the time. Still, there's a lot of different options for Zac to gank people. You can get onto this brand and really pressure this mid lane. You can get onto this Lux and pressure that bot side. So keep your eyes on the gate firewall and watch where these ganks are hitting because they could snowball one of these lanes out of control.
Yeah, and that's something you see with Zac a lot of the time is that his ganks are never the problem with the champion. His ganks are arguable. Oh.
No, they're trolling us because they heard us. They heard us talking about it.
They traded the Morgana and the Zac. Thousand Eyes, if you hadn't mentioned it, they wouldn't have baited me into thinking that maybe you were right about that. But no, it's going to be Zac Jungle. So as I was saying about his ganks...
If I didn't talk, you wouldn't have ever thought I was right.
True. In any case, getting back to where we were. His ganks are amazing. They're arguably the strongest and least reactable ganks in the game. He can come from so many different angles. He can come from so far away. You need to ward so deep to be prepared for him. When he gets that elastic slingshot and he starts getting points into it, it blows summoners. A brand dealing with a Zac gank dies if he doesn't have flash up to get out of the knockup. A Lux dealing with a Zac gank dies if she doesn't have flash to get out of the knockup. And that's a problem, the Gnar has some elusiveness. The Ezreal as well has something to get out of it, but...
So the answer to this really should be that BAP and Dream Release and Ephemeral Voids, the top and bottom lanes should have pressure, right? They should be able to poke out those. They should have the push priority in those lanes. What you do then is you get deep wards to see where Zac is. So even if you don't have a ward in the right spot, you're like, oh, I know he's bot side, so bot lane needs to play safe. Top lane, you can play really aggressive right now. If you get those deep wards, it's kind of similar to an Evelynn, where you want to get wards in the jungle to see where they're farming from, and then make predictions on the path from that. You don't want to just try and be like, all right, well, we'll ward Tribrush and that he'll probably gank from there. You can't make that assumption. So getting deep wards is going to be very important, and they have the lanes to be able to do so.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's just a matter of if they can defend those wards. It's another question. You can go set up a pink ward, and then as soon as it's spotted, it gets cleaned up. You got to buy another one, and you got to put it back there. You got to keep doing that to keep the vision up and keep the information flowing. And that's something that a lot of teams at this level can sometimes struggle or fail to do, which is why I think Zac is such a powerful pick. In a league like Open Rampage, where you're playing with silver and gold players, not everyone has the skill set necessary to deal with a jungler who can exert so much pressure in ganks. At a higher level, if you know where he is, He farms really slow, he gets put behind, he doesn't have good neutral objective takes, so if you can avoid giving him kills on ganks, he's naturally going to start getting further and further behind. And that's how you punish him, and we'll have to see if NGE can make that happen. But we're going to have to cut to a break to see it happen on the Rift, see it live, see what's going on. We will be back in just a couple minutes once we've loaded into the game and Spectre Delay has finished winding down. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome to Summoner's Rift here for Game 3 of the Open Rampage semifinals between four guys at a Canadian and Not Good Enough. We have a 1-1 series. We're basically beginning a fresh best of 3. We're just, 2.5 hours in with a 48-minute game behind us and another less close 30-minute game. So it's speeding up. We'll see if it keeps speeding up this game. We'll see if the Zac can create a snowball or the Nunu can create a snowball. I bet you the Nunu will create a snowball at some point, actually. I'll go ahead and be confident that he will do that at some point because he has an ability that does it. In any case, my name is Coleslaw. Joining me on this cast is Thousand Eyes, and we have a bit of a level 1. No, never mind. That was literally he walked up and punched him. That was it. We're good.
Yeah, just getting vision down. So going to be pretty much the same thing. Nunu does not get the opportunity to back, though. We'll just stay on the vision totem. And now we're just going to be seeing everybody going back to normal.
You got some Gnar emotes coming down in the red side jungle.
That's
I love
very
these.
true.
I love Nari emotes. I think every
I'm
single one of them is at least a 9 out of 10. So
look, all of them lose rating when they get spammed nonstop, except for the Robo Nunu laugh. That's the only one that is acceptable to be spammed.
we don't have Robo Nunu, which is very sad. And hey, actually, there's some emotes that are better when spammed. Like there's the Vel'Koz Control 4. What the heck is going on here? We have a Morgana showing up to lane, an exhaust burn. King Crimson gonna have to burn exhaust and flash to get away.
I'm getting
Kitesbridge
flashbacks.
with the cheese, burning both summoners on the brand, forcing him back to lane on the first wave. Hedge able to get 3 CS for himself. It doesn't even look like he's going to miss anything for it. That's a fantastic idea from Kitesbridge. I don't know. I'm not even sure I want to call that cheese. I just want to call that a good way to punish a brand.
Yeah, especially just like I'm a little frustrated that Dream Release and Ephemeral did not zone out a little more on that. Well, there really was only so much they could do. Good heads up play by Kitesbridge. Unfortunately, that will mean the brand is going to struggle in this lane, and they really don't pay for it much on that bot side. Although the bind hitting is going to be good.
Yeah, and so the Morgana is also going to be a little behind on XP, of course, missed the first 3 minions, so going to be behind on levels for much of this early laning phase, but that's not a huge deal into something like Lux Ezreal. You know, level 2 power spike is not the terrifying, threatening kill pressure that you've come to expect from things like Alistair or Thresh.
Yeah.
You know, it's just Lux,
I mean,
Lux can do a little more damage.
What is useful is when you hit level 2 first, and you want to keep the enemy at level 1, because
Yes.
the longer you are at least level 1 and they are level 1, Ezreal has such a great advantage, as well as the Lux. So
yeah, and this is going to repeat itself with every level
Yeah.
up. You know, the Morgana is always going to be behind. Kitesbridge going to hit 3 slow, going to hit 4 slow, that sort of thing. And so there's always going to be these opportunities where there's a small window where they can punish it. But it's on them to do it. You know, the Lux is landing the poke. Ephemeral Voids is proving why they play, or proving that they do in fact play a lot of Lux. But the mana's starting to run low. The poke going to run out eventually. Hedge out of potions, but he does have the Doran shield to slowly regen himself.
Yeah, Gate Firewall moving up, looking for that scuttle, seeing Henry Water Noose, and then backing out immediately. Good call, because with the push in on your bot side, you do not have the people to protect you as you try and contest that. So going to just be a loss of a scuttle, unfortunately. And Henry Water Noose actually going to go up towards this top side as well and probably get that scuttle as well. So getting a much better start on this jungle.
Yeah, this is going to be the double scuttle. My only question is why he didn't walk. I mean, why he just walked through mid lane instead of trying to make it a gank. Like,
so the reason for that was probably to get there immediately. If you try and go the long way around, it does mean that the Zac will have an opportunity to actually contest that.
well, my point is rather just walk through mid lane, but with a snowball to try and threaten some damage.
Yeah, that's an opportunity, but yeah. Then you don't have it in case you need it with the fight with Zac. So there's some reasoning behind it, but you're probably right. Using that snowball, getting a small little pressure gank off at the same time would have been ideal. Regardless, does get the scuttle and will be just going back to clearing. Junglers have not really had a whole lot of impact this game.
No, and I mean that's kind of perfect if you're Nunu, right? Is that's what you're hoping for, is if you can be up 8 CS and that's it, then Nunu's doing his job, because the Zac isn't getting things done, the ganks aren't happening, and the Zac is already starting to fall a little bit behind. And that's what we're seeing here, and that's the dream. So let's see how long that can continue. Of course, Zac becomes a much better ganker as he gets points into his E. It gives him more range on that elastic slingshot, which can make him engage lanes from more unique angles. So he's not going to fall off at level 6 or anything like that. He's just going to get better until he's 9.
Absolutely. King Crimson gotta be a little careful here. Level 5's coming through. Want to check Zed almost level 6, so could go for the engage once that comes through. Good bind. Dream Release not healthy or has the mana to follow up on it. And it's just going to be the back off here. With that, actually have the Doran's shield start from the Kaisa, so really just trying to stay alive in this lane. And so far it's been pretty successful.
Yep. Meanwhile, we saw King Crimson go back Project Nargacuga hit level 6. Niklaw hit level 6 first as well, going to punish Bap very hard with the range advantage that he suddenly has. And it's actually almost a 500 gold lead for 4GC, despite them not having kills.
Yeah, and that's coming from that mid lane. Just the early gank has done so much work against this brand. Without the flash or the exhaust, just has to play so careful. Bot side, with the mana going down here, this is a really awkward spot for Dream Release and Ephemeral Voids. They don't have the mana to keep the poke up, which means that the health bars have started to regenerate, and they can't really keep pressure as much as they were. Binds are hitting now, and they don't have an opportunity to back either.
Well, here's an engage on top lane. Niklaw getting Nard into the turret. Bap doing a ton of damage to him. Flash is available. No one's using it. Niklaw flashes away from the stun finally. Meanwhile, there's a gank in bot lane. Henry Waternews shows up. Kitesbridge going to use the Black Shield to stop himself from getting rooted. Absolute Zero comes in, gets interrupted by the Zac pull. That's first blood going over to Kitesbridge. You see the Gate Firewall popping into his passive. Perfect use of that. Not going to be able to get cleaned up. So that's 1 kill to 0 in topside. Niklaw got out, got to safety, and everything was fine for him. And here's a re-engage. Dream Release just E'd in, flashes out into the Zac knockup. Great prediction from the Gate Firewall. Uncalculated aggression from Dream Release getting punished. And now it's 2 kills to none. Only downside, both kills onto Kitesbridge on this Morgana.
All right, so the dodge out from the gank was really well played by Hedge and Kitesbridge. Hedge dodging the snowball and Kitesbridge holding on to that E to make sure that he stayed uninhibited by the Nunu E, and the Gate Firewall making a great counter gank in interrupting the Nunu ult as well. That was a great gank. However, the aggression from Dream Release was just, that was not needed. You knew that Zac was just right by, and he just popped out of his passive, so he got a lot of health back. He doesn't have to worry about mana or anything. Like, you know that he's there and can do that. That's just way too aggressive and a complete out of sight, out of mind type of reaction.
Yeah, I like to joke in my solo queue games that I'm a jungle player, and I like to test my opponent's object permanence, which is, you know, if I gank their lane and disappear, do they remember that I exist once I'm in Fog of War again? And Dream Release just failed the object permanence test there a little bit. It's going to end up costing them a dragon, so it is going to be that first early objective going over to 4GC. It's not the end of the world, because once again, the kill's on the wrong person. You really would prefer them to be on anyone other than the Morgana support. We're going to see Kitesbridge picking up a tier, which is very bizarre to me, because that only builds in
shoes
to Archangels. So maybe Kitesbridge is planning on leveraging this and just going full AP.
it technically builds into Manamune as well. So
it's not going to be a Manamune, Thousand Eyes. What we do have is a gank mid lane. King Crimson very low with the Death Mark and the Ignite ticking. He's going to fall. Project Nargacuga now playing the ankle break game to Henry Waternoose. The Gate Firewall shows up with the Blue Smite, with the passive, with the Let's Bounce, going to be able to secure that kill. So it's 2 kills for none here in the mid lane on the front end of Nargacuga. Outplay, and then the jungler showing up to help.
Yeah, and Nargacuga's Zed is pretty scary. We saw it last game, a lot of great plays from that, and that was once again a really good one, buying extra time for that Zac to show up. A good bind there, I'll hit.
Yeah, Hedge going to take a couple turret shots. I'm not even sure they won that trade because of that, but...
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Ezreal just backed. They're going to want to shove this one more wave and then probably back themselves. So they're really looking to just force Lux in a situation where she wants to back as well. Just try and crash this wave as quick as possible. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. And
he's just not even hitting the wave, Thousand Eyes. He's just letting it sit there.
Yeah. All right, well, that's awkward. Regardless, now...
I mean, maybe it's the right play. They're just not doing it.
Niklaw maybe taking a little bit of damage here, but so far doing pretty good. Bap has not really gotten much of an advantage in that early levels, and that's kind of paying the price now. As you can see, down in farm, not going to really do too well into this Kayle once that Mega Gnar comes through, unless he's going for the engage.
And he does go in for the engage, but here comes the Gate Firewall, showing up at the perfect time to punish it. Niklaw with the ultimate to save himself. Gonna pick up that kill. Bap goes in, Bap goes down. Simple as that.
Yeah, and once again, the object permanence test is being failed as just going in without knowledge of where Zach was and getting punished for it. This is just kind of sloppy play from NGE.
And so you mentioned it, this Gnar was a counter pick into the Kayle. They saw the Kayle. They had a good lane against it on Mordekaiser last game. Mordekaiser was not banned. They could have opted to redo it. They decided Gnar would be better. That was their thinking. That's why they went for it. They were hoping that the Gnar could punish the Kayle harder than the Mordekaiser could. There's been almost no jungle pressure in this lane until that kill right there. And the Gnar is losing lane.
I wanna yes. And that's a big deal. Kayle doing really well this game, honestly, even better than the last game. But I do want to talk about. So we talked about how the tier and the Sork shoes were on the Morgana. If you look at the build order here, she's maxing W right now, so she is really going for that damage oriented Morgana. Not what you usually see. Usually support Morganas are going to max that Q, then the E. W is usually not utilized terribly well outside of the poke, but it is going to be a very heavy damage support Morgana coming through.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if it works out. That kind of build works in a really messy, bloodthirsty, kill-heavy game, which is what we got in the first two games, but it's not what we have at all here. You actually see Dream Release trying to pick up a kill with the True Shot Barrage, not going to be able to find it. There's a Herald being dropped mid lane. That's a little bit bold. We'll see how much value that generates, because
no, that was fine. That was honestly good, but
well, the Nunu left, and because the Nunu left, the Zac showed up and said, "Well, I'll just kill your mid laner." And
it was just really funny to see Nunu walk up, drop the Herald, and say, "Well, my job is done here, guys. See ya." And then Brand immediately just getting blasted by this Zac. Yeah. I don't know why. That was just very, very intriguing to me. But the Herald play itself was good. Get that, especially because the timer's running out for the turret plates.
Yeah.
Just get that money down. Make sure you're actually getting the most out of it that you can. And getting Brand some extra gold right now is very important. You want to make sure that Brand is able to provide things into this team fight portion of the game, because he's been very struggling in this game.
Well, we have a top lane fight breaking out. Bap walking in, trying to find the Gnar. He doesn't get the stun. Nicola gonna pop his ultimate, but he's very low. He flashes out of the second stun. Bap, though, gonna be able to finish this one off. Gonna be able to get that kill. In the meantime, though, 4GC picking up that Ocean Dragon. So they're at 2 dragons to 0 now.
Yeah, good play there by Bap. Almost got turned around by Nicola, but does just finish it off pretty cleanly. And while the Gnar was struggling a little bit, is now starting to find its stride.
Yeah, and that's a good timing, right? The Kayle was about to hit 11, and he gets that kill on the level 10 Kayle. Things get harder every time Kayle gets another rank in her ultimate, so that's the right opportunity to go for it, to commit for it, to try to make it happen. Nicola not able to keep himself alive, but it's the first kill of the game going over to NGE. They're still down about 3,500 gold, so they're going to need a lot more of that. They're going to come back into this one, especially when they're getting so heavily outscaled.
Absolutely. And the thing is that it's not even like they scale poorly. The issue is that they really struggle to stay alive from these engages coming through. You have Brand, Ezreal, and Lux. These are very
Project Nargacuga gonna easily burn a flash on that roam. Not much more than that. Doesn't get enough damage. Very respectful flash from Ephemeral Voids.
Yeah. The Lux Ezreal, they can just get dove very hard. Bap, even if he's not mega, that's another person that could be a target. So it's just a real big struggle for them if they don't get ahead early, and they really aren't right now.
Well, here's another top lane fight. This time the Zac is in the neighborhood. You see the gate firewall flying in. Bap goes mini. He goes down. Here's a fight in bot lane. Henry Waternoose is in the vicinity. Hedge going to use the killer instinct to get back on a Dream Release. Pull that team away from his support. Kitesbridge able to walk out to safety. So it's a 1-for-1 on top, a 1-for-1 on bot.
Yeah. So once again, Zac showing up. Making top an uneven fight, but bot lane, a good gank by Henry Waternoose to actually get something going on that side. Israel will pick up the kill, and now Knightsbridge going in.
Yeah, Knightsbridge lands that binding. He decides with that binding connecting, he wants a kill. He cannot get that kill. He is a support Morgana with no income.
No, the TP.
He's going to go down. The brand goes down in mid. Bap teleports in. That's a Shinshin TP. The gate firewall shows up and last hits him with the elastic slingshot. Bap all of a sudden at 3 deaths.
I want to point out that Kale stopped autoing the tower specifically so Bap could get in there. Like, he could have finished that tower.
But it was a kill. Take the free kill.
But it was a kill, yeah. So, like, that was specifically like, oh, Nar's TPing in. Usually you'd finish that tower, and then Nar shows up and you kill him.
Well, they're engaging here onto Henry Waternoose. The turret is not quite dead. Niklaw is the one taking it up. That's not the right person, but it's okay. He's still Kale. He still has damage. They're going to kill that Nunu. They're going to escort that Herald into this inhibitor turret. It's going to get a bonk onto that. Bap, though, looking for a kill. Here comes the Zac. It's so close. He does not get it, nor does the Luxult. That's depressing. If you are the side of NGE, you're thinking this Kale's so low, we can finally get the kill. Instead, you give her a blue buff, but the brand is finally here to save the day. Niklaw has nowhere to go. He could have run out, I think. Instead, he runs back in, kills himself to Dream Release, but not before the gate firewall picks up a kill onto King Crimson. It's an 0-4 brand and a 1-4 Gnar. These solo lanes not working out for NGE. They ended up sending every single member of their team top to stop that push. They still lost a ton of damage on their inhibitor turret, and they're losing a ton in mid and bot in the process.
Yeah, the mid and top lanes are just really causing issues. Oh my goodness, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, good night, sweet prince. And Hedge, in the meanwhile, says, "Good job, guys. I got this. Don't worry."
I got a turret. No one's been in my lane for 3 minutes.
Just that's one of those games as an AD carry. You're like, "Good job, guys. We're such a good team. Everybody on the team doing great."
Yeah. You're
just
0-1 down
one.
35 CS, but you got turret because bot diff.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, as Kale is running into that top side. Ooh,
that was a bushwhack that went horribly wrong. That binding
lost control of the lawnmower.
And by 90 degrees. You'd think when they don't know you're there, you could hit a little closer to that. But I think you just didn't expect Nunu to be running that way. In any case, it's correct for Hedge to do what he's doing. You know, it's when you're put behind on an AD carry and your team has an advantage. What you want to do is farm up and be a marksman later on in the game. Here comes Knightsbridge doing the same thing he did before, where he connects a binding and thinks he has damage, but he's a support, so he dies. Not sure, Thousand Eyes. It's the second time in a row. We need to give Knightsbridge a lesson on.
I'm gonna call it out. The leveling here, not ideal. The items here, not ideal. I feel like this Morg is being played like it's not a support, and it still very much is.
You know, if he had like his mythic completed as well as a second item, that play would be very good.
Yeah, which you would do if it was a jungle Morgana.
Yeah, or like a mid lane Morgana, you go for that. You hit the support, you're up in levels, you're up in items, you kill her. But you're
level 8 to level 9, and
you're not up in levels. You're not up in items.
You're very much down in almost everything.
You just die again.
Yep, it's not what you want to do.
But it's fine. The team gets the dragon, so you know you're allowed to int a kill every once in a while. Kind of like how Niklaw is inting a kill right here. He's bound up underneath it. What the heck?
Welcome to Kale, buddy. Have you never seen this champ?
Whoa! That's not even an int. He kills ephemeral voids. He gets slammed underneath the turret. Bound. There's a shield. It doesn't matter. Niklaw says, "I'll just right-click you and do some damage," and it's enough damage to kill that Lux. So it's a trade of 1 for 1.
This is a 2.5 item Kale, man. That's what happens when you're a Lux support and the Kale gets thrust upon you by your top laner. Says, here you go. I brought you a gift, and yeah, just completely throws the support out to dry. But
well, the blue buff was just given over to Knightsbridge, which is fun.
Yeah, so expect that one to come over to Ezreal pretty soon.
He's only died twice. It's been 2 mistakes. He's not greedy.
It's
Come
been
on,
two,
man.
but it's been the same mistake both times. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of sass.
Yeah, I feel like that blue buff probably a little bit better on the Zed. The energy regeneration actually pretty
Very
good on
good.
him in mid and late game. Obviously Kale probably preferable too, but Kale's dead, so you're not going to give it to her. So, you know, Morg's the third best person on this team to give a blue buff to.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
yeah. It is better than the Zac.
Yes,
You
and
know,
better
and
than the Kaisa, who just doesn't really need mana.
Yeah.
I think.
So.
Oh, recall not canceled.
I mean, so she doesn't go tier anymore, so she can still use the mana regen. It's still not the worst thing, but yeah, regardless, we're gonna be seeing some prep work coming in for these objectives. Baron, I believe,
standing on the
started.
Baron. I have directed cam showing me Niklaw doing a 2v2 in the 1v2 in the bot lane. He's gonna kill Henry Waternoose. He might be able to kill Bap.
He wins
It looks
both
like,
these.
Yeah, this is just he just wins this. Like he's just juking everything, breaking everyone's ankles. In the meanwhile, his team is taking the Baron, so it's unmitigated disaster for NGE. They're like, let's go kill this Kale in bot lane. They don't know the Baron's going down. They don't get the kill. The Kale is not even 16
They
and
trip
still
over
be
themselves.
doing. And
Yeah, that one's embarrassing. Honestly, you just whiff everything and just get sidestepped and completely outplayed in a 1v2 now.
Well, here comes the
in.
dive from the gate firewall. Hedge with the killer instinct chasing in. King Crimson goes down in the blink of an eye. Project Nargacuga now looking for these kills. He has the Prowler's Claw. He has the Shadows. Ephemeral Voids. Doesn't know what angle that Zed's coming from. Not going to be able to finish up that kill. And Niklaw rotating in from bot lane to top. Gate firewall healing back up off these Krugs. With the Baron in the side of 4GC, they can start pushing. They can start thinking about cracking the base here.
Yeah, and right now, Niklaw on that side lane can do a lot of work. There really is no answer.
You've learned this lesson, buddy. You've learned this lesson.
Don't do it, buddy.
You don't want this fight.
Talk about it. Talk to your team.
It doesn't look like he's actually going to go for. Oh no, I lied. He's going for it. He's jumping in. He's getting the Gnar. This time the Sun
pushed him out of
connects.
the Lux.
It dodges out of the Lux ult. Niklaw not even low. His team has arrived. You got to run for the hills, Ephemeral Voids. You do not want this. A binding connects onto Henry Watermoose. The absolute zero not going to save his life. Niklaw going to burn the flash out of the Ezreal. Stands a little still, so he finally goes down, but not before Bap goes down too.
Kale already. Like, buddy, you had that, and it was just a bind. It wasn't a stun. You could use it there. Unfortunately, does not, so will go down, but still, once again, just this Kale is ridiculous. We'll have the TP when alive, and they're going to try and push and crack this, but the Siege and just Poke from Dream Release and King Crimson are just really hard to deal with. Dragon will be spawning here. That is a Wind Dragon Soul.
Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't really matter because it's Cloud Soul, but it's still a soul. It feels good, you know? You're like, I got a soul. It's soul.
Hey, hold up. Let's talk about this. You've got Cloud Soul on it, a Kaisa, a Morgana.
Who cares?
Even the Kale. Like,
nah.
Honestly, Cloud Soul's pretty good.
Have you checked the win rates on Soul's Thousand Eyes? Because it's like Cloud Soul has like a 67% win rate when like every other Soul's at like 75%. Like 67% is like.
Hey, if I had 67% chance to win my games, I would freaking take it, man.
But you know why it has that win rate? It's because teams that get Soul were already winning the game because they secured 4 dragons. That's all I'm saying. I'm a Cloud Soul hater. Movement speed's a great stat. I love movement speed, but hey, Bap steals the rip off. Nice work.
Get your move speed.
I don't think 4GC need it. Is all I'm gonna say.
What, you want them to just leave it up?
I mean, no, they. Of course, you take the dragon 1,000 eyes. Of course you do. It's a dragon. You take your dragon. You get your soul. It feels good. But you got a level 16 Kale about to happen. Niklaw, it's Is he gonna get? He's gonna get a kill anyway. It's unreal. That's surreal. Thousand Eyes. I had no words because I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to believe it. He's in a 1v4. He kills someone anyway, and then his team shows up. They're gonna pick off another one. They've got the Baron. They can start pushing. The Zed damage is so big. I think Project Nargacuga was surprised by himself. Realizes he can clean up everyone. Realizes he can get all those kills, and so he does. And so that's an ace. And so 4GC gonna start knocking down the base. The death timers are basically here. They may be able to win the game.
That was rude. The surrender is gonna come through, so that will be the game. And now 4GC up 2-1 in this off of two very dominant games. So NGE have their backs up against the wall and need to come up big in this next one.
Yeah, that's a more dominant game we just saw than what we saw in games 1 or 2.
Yeah.
It's every game 4GC has looked like they're improving, they're adapting, they're getting a better read on things, they're playing better, they're turning the lights on. Project Nargacuga on this Zed, once again 804. He's a monster, picking up a ton of kills. And I mean, Nicola in this game on the Kale, he may have died, like, there were 8 deaths and he was 5 of them on his team, but inexplicably, he didn't care how outnumbered he was. Someone was going down with him every time they showed up to take him.
Yeah, that was just the Kale. It needs to be banned. I don't think they have a good answer to it. Even when they did get a good answer to it, it was because of outside factors that got them ahead in the Kale. So I feel like you have to ban the Kale. I don't know what you got to pick something really safe in this mid lane because Project Nargacuga is just running rampant in all of these games. Even in the first game that they lost, the Zed was still scary. This is a really rough spot to be in if you're NGE.
Yeah, it's do or die now. They have to win both of the next 2 games. The game that they won didn't make any sense. I don't think you can really fall back to the strat that was employed in that game because I don't think there was a strat for either team other than kill each other a lot. So you got to think, yeah, I think you're right. Mid lane is a problem. You know, it's been a pretty big mid diff both of these last 2 games. They're picking these immobile, non-self-sufficient mid laners who are exposed by AD engage power or like engaging assassins and champs that go in and capitalize on these immobile champions. You know, it's Vel'Koz is fine against Yone levels 1 through 5, but as soon as Yone has the 6 and some points in his E, he's killing. The Zed against Brand is just Zed wins that matchup. It doesn't matter how good you are as Brand. You're just limited in your tools, limited in what you can do, and Project Nargacuga takes advantage of that. So that's one thing that needs addressing. The Kale's another thing. Jungle wasn't so hot this game either. Henry Waternoose just going in and dying a lot. So they've got a lot to think about. They're going to need to take some time, reimagine the draft. We're going to have to take some time. Reimagine the break that we're going to get between games 3 and 4 here.
Yeah, this is it's been an interesting series.
It has been. In any case, we are going to cut to a break here. We're going to take a quick rest while we wait to get into the lobby and draft for game 4. This is now 4 guys in Canadian, 1 game away from clinching advancement to the Open Rampage Finals. So don't miss it. You want to stay tuned, see if they can complete this series. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back here to Game 4 of the Open Rampage semifinals between, oh man, I've forgotten their team name, Thousand Eyes. They've changed sides. That's the thing I want to point out here. Is not good enough, and 4 guys and a Canadian, my brain just doesn't work because it's been 3 games of them with 4 guys and a Canadian on blue. Not good enough has always been on red. They swap sides up. The storage is all broken. We're all going to have to adjust to this. We've got the draft working yet again. The bans flying off the table, mostly similar. Yone's still banned after game 2. Kale going to get taken off the table after that game 3. 4GC going to deny Tridimir, Galio, and Vayne. Vayne was the win condition in game 1. So lots of bans that have been adopted because of how gameplay has gone in this series. And we'll have to see how these teams draft now that they're on different sides of the rift.
This scares me because every time we've had the Kale, like the games have been pretty normal, right?
Uh-huh.
When we had 2 tanks in the top lane, things got iffy. Things got a little crazy. People got a little bit, unhinged. So I'm a little worried if we're gonna see 2 tanks in the top side. Regardless, now we've got the Kai'Sa picked up in the first pick. The Morgana is gonna be taken now, and this I assume is gonna be the support Morgana once again with the Xayah. The Taric is being hovered, and that one would be. I'd be very curious about that one because I have not seen a legitimate Taric in a long time. But I love that champion, so please lock that in.
Can you explain to me what Taric does? Because yeah, his ultimate's good.
He's the Master Yi buffer.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that champ picked seriously in like a non-cheese way. But
yeah, I mean, okay, so it's been a while, but so Taric, he actually does provide a decent amount of lane presence if you can utilize the angles correctly and work well with your teammate. The reason that you don't generally see him is he doesn't have great engage once you get against people that recognize his weaknesses. The E is a very slow stun. So heal he has is very weak in the early game, especially because you're not putting points in it. It basically the way his heal works is you get a charge per level up to when you have it maxed out it's 5 charges, but at level 1 it is just 1 charge, and you want to max the stun first. So that ends up with you basically not having a heal ability or using a really weak heal that has a huge mana cost tied to it. It gets really weird with it. So that's generally why you don't see him. But this means now Kai'Sa can go in with impunity and not have to worry about any damage coming through.
Yep, so it's going to be supporting the Kai'Sa. It's not going to be supporting a Yi because the Sejuani jungle, of course, is already locked in. 4GC going to answer the Sejuani with a Zac. No reason to deviate from that after how effective it was last game. I really like that from them. I think they can say no problem with that whatsoever. A little curious to me is that they're banning the brand. I think if I were 4GC, I would be rather content to see NGE pick up the brand again. It was really kind of not good in that game 3, and I don't think it would be a concern of mine. So they're going to deny it. Vel'Koz's probably going to be the lock-in. It's all we've seen from them so far in the mid lane is Brand and Vel'Koz. King Crimson with a relatively limited champion pool that relies heavily on those kind of long-range poker champions. He can also do Kassadin, but you don't want to blind pick that.
Not when we've only seen AD mid laners. That's
Yeah.
probably not the call. But it is going to be the Vel'Koz. This does now mean we're going to see something different from Project Nargacuga, and I'm interested to see what's going to be picked here. They do need a bit more damage. Xayah being the only real damage on this team so far is a little concerning. She is not the highest DPS AD carry. And that really, I'd also like to see the Q max from the Morgana this time around, if possible. I think that would be.
I was gonna say you're insulting the Morgana support by insisting that Xayah is the only damage on this team. Of course, the Morgana support does damage.
When I see it, I will change my mind. So if I see the Morgana do damage, I will believe it. So now what is this? Is this the mid lane Malphite against the Vel'Koz? Is that what we're seeing?
That would actually make a lot of sense. There's no way it's Fiora mid, right? Fiora mid just not very good because
It's not very good, but also Malphite mid against Vel'Koz is not very good. This is a very confusing draft for me.
AP Malphite mid against Vel'Koz. You can't miss your poke. You can't miss your poke, but he can, and he doesn't have sustain. So when you poke him, that poke stays. And when you're level 6,
don't have sustain either.
Yeah, but you dodge. You know, you roll. It's seismic shard. You steal
Your
his
monkey
moves.
brain is showing a lot right now, man.
My what?
Your monkey brain is showing like.
I don't know. I unironically have a little bit of faith in the Malphite mid into Vel'Koz matchup. I think the Malphite is just gonna be good because his poke hits harder for starters. It can't be dodged, and once he's 6, his combo is just automatic. Vel'Koz can't ult him because the Malphite ults him back. I unironically believe Malphite is probably better in this matchup.
I guess the thing is, the problem with this is, one, you're gonna get shoved in hard early. You have no answer to the Vel'Koz push. 2, yes, your poke can't miss, but you have to get much closer than Vel'Koz ever does. So if you're getting poke off onto Vel'Koz, he's screwing up already off the bat. I feel like, yeah, level 6 comes and then you can try and go for stuff, but it's still not the best thing in the world. Yeah, it looks like the Fiora is going to go up to the top side. Now, Fiora into Cho'Gath is a very good matchup.
Yeah, she kills him.
yeah. Cho'Gath can't really do a whole lot. All of his stuff that he wants to do to Fiora is really telegraphed, or he has to get melee range. So that one is a very good matchup. I would have rather seen like kind of just a mage v mage matchup in this scenario. You know, maybe go for like an Orianna or something. Standard is asking too much, I guess.
Malphite mid building full AP is a mage.
I did say standard mage.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a standard mage to me. If it's good enough for doing be at Worlds,
what about Giant Mountain Man doesn't scream mage?
It's if it's good enough for doing be at Worlds, it's good enough for Open Rampage. That's all I'll say on the matter.
I'm gonna trust Doing B over Project Nargacuga. I believe. But regardless, yeah, we're gonna be seeing the Malphite mid. Also, I think Doing still goes full tank, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he does. But
yeah, so
they don't need to know that. Don't tell the viewers. They would have believed me if you hadn't said it.
Yeah, well, you believe whatever you want to believe, buddy. Regardless, let's talk a little bit about this bot lane, right? So you got the Morgana Xayah with up against that Kai'Sa Taric. We talked about the Taric a good bit. This is going to be a lane that Xayah and Morgana should have a lot of presence over, even more so than I think what we saw in the last game where we had the Kai'Sa with the Morgana. The Xayah can also set up the Morgana, meaning that those binds are even easier to hit. There's a lot of CC layering that can happen, and that can all happen pre-level 6, and that means Kai'Sa Taric, they have no real out button when that happens. So keep your eyes on that bot lane. I think if we're going to see if we're going to see early solo kills, it's probably going to be in that bot lane. Fiora also could make it happen in that top side, but there's a lot of pick potential alongside this Zac as well. There's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, and the Zac once again is just going to be the key to the game. And I don't love Sejuani as an answer to it. I liked the Nunu because the Nunu can outfarm and have a lot of good gank pressure. The Sejuani cannot outfarm, and her ganks are just a little worse. Of course, she scales into late game a little better because she has a much more reliable late game ultimate.
You had the opportunity to take the Morgana away, too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just would have been a great pickup here. Not only are you taking it away, you're getting one of the best junglers in the game currently. But that's not what it's going to be. Now, I do want to give credit. NGE's composition does work very well once you hit the mid to late game, right? Fiora is going to start to struggle once team fights start happening. She doesn't do well in those. She doesn't have the AoE damage or the, hard, strong gap closers that a lot of other champions do. She wants to just stay in the 1v1. But the Taric ult, the Vel'Koz ult, the Cho'Gath running interference on people, there's so much there that can win team fights. I just don't know if they're going to safely get there.
And even if they do, we've seen in this series that Nick Law, not afraid to split push, not afraid to just show up in a side lane and say, I am shoving this in until you send multiple people to stop me, and then I will kill one of them and die.
That is Nick's Law.
That's just how his game has gone. He's not here to team fight. He's here to push and split push and kill one person and die. That is his approach. That is his mentality. That is what he's going to do. And there is no one who can answer if you're a split push come late game. The Cho'Gath does not. The Sejuani does not. The Vel'Koz does not. Nor does the Kai'Sa. It's going to need to be multiple people. And then in the 4-on-5, the Zac Mel fight, Xayah, Morgana, if you have 2 people missing from NGE, those 4 can almost certainly win the 4v3. And I think that's generally going to be the game plan and the approach for 4GC. But,
yeah,
down the dice. We're going to have to see how it works. You know, maybe the Fiora just reverts back to like Season 4 Fiora, where her ultimate was actually a really nuts team fight ultimate with an AoE where you did like 70% to everyone because of the interaction with like Tiamat. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Law could just pull that out and just win the game that way. So, we're going to have to cut to a quick break. We're going to have to go on to the Rift in just a couple minutes here once Spectator Delay winds down. And we will be back to give you all Game 4 of the Open Rampage semifinals in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Summoner's Rift here for Game 4 of the Open Rampage. Rampage?
Rampage.
I'm getting tired. I'm a cowboy now, and we're playing some Open Rampage semifinals between not good enough 4 guys a Canadian. We got an 8 Bal fight in the mid lane. He's starting that Doran's ring, and I'm going to drop this accent because I don't think anyone could understand what I was saying.
But serious question. Favorite type of pie?
Favorite type of pie? Mud pie. Easy. It's just the classic because it doesn't mean anything and it's just like chocolate and stuff. How about you? In any case, I'm actually hearing from a producer that, well, Thousand Eyes, what's your favorite pie?
I would say that mine is probably, I don't know, Pumpkin's up there.
All right, cool. Well, in any case, we're going to need to pause real quick. You just took away. That was nice. You asked me the question. You give me an answer. Our producer had a little bit of an issue with the time. You saw him fiddling with that time button. We're going to need to cut to a quick break to make sure that we can be synced back up. So we're going to pause. We're going to cut back out, and we will be back in the action in like 30 seconds.
We are not in sync at this point.
Oh, we're actually just going to keep talking. Okay, that's how we're going to do it.
All right.
Wait for it.
I think I'm good.
All right, I think I'm synced up. I'm at 117, 118, 119.
All right.
And we're doing it. All right, we're back. We're here.
We did it live. Everybody saw a little behind the scenes.
Yeah, there you go. It's this is how we have to make these things happen. So, the thing we were talking about after the Malphite was locked in was whether we would get the Do and Be Tank Malphite mid or the Chad full AP Doran's Ring Malphite mid. And oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh
no.
Every time.
With another excellent level 1. Just throwing in a Dark Binding and saying, yoink, don't mind if I do. He's got the red buff. He's poking down Ephemeral Voids. He's got auto attacks that hurt, baby. And poor Henry Waternoose just gonna be behind.
Oh my goodness. That's so depressing. Holy god. That I just that's the second time too that I think we've seen Kitesbridge just completely show up in another area of the map that he shouldn't be in, and just like you should know that he's gonna try and do that at this point.
Last game
he did it last game in mid. Yeah, he won mid lane through that. This time around he won jungle. Like like you know he's gonna play aggressive like that. Word correctly.
Instead, he's just gonna have the red. I'm flabbergasted. That's like one of those things you see in highlight clips. I've never casted something like that, but Kitesbridge just showing up. He's the level 1 king, level 1 god on this Morgana.
Yeah, well,
that's why they're putting it support Thousand Eyes. It might be a top jungler, but when you can get that level 1 every game, you put it support every time.
Yeah, I guess so. Nicklaw winning up in this top side already, as expected.
Yeah, the repo's going to miss. Henry Waternoose is here. He's just going to flash. He's not fooling around. Nicklaw going to flash away. The dash is not available on the Sejuani, and with the dash from Nicklaw, he's going to get out. So it's a trade of flashes. Jungle flash for top lane flash. Should be advantageous for NGE if they can capitalize on it. But for now, it's just going to send Nicklaw back to base and force a teleport out of him.
Yeah, and right now you're looking to see if there's going to be a repeat gank, but Project Narkakuga is feeling
he's sitting in the bush. Here comes the gate firewall. They're going on to Henry Waternoose. They know he has no flash. They're channeling the teleport in. There's a fight going down bot lane as well. Kitesbridge going to have to flash away to safety, but it's going to be First Blood going over to him before he ticks down and gives the kill back to Ephemeral Voids, with the Ignites on the supports taking both kills. And sadly, that level 1 red buff going to vanish into the void as it was picked up on a kill by someone who was already dead.
Yeah, but topside turned into a big bunch of nothing there.
It did.
As the teleport did come through. It did force BAP back, but still has the TP. Not going to use that to go up since the wave is just so pushed up already. Not missing any CS really. So I think that's a good call there. This does mean that Nicklaw is a little bit vulnerable. Henry needs to be a little careful. I do not want to see a jungler die to Raptors, but...
Am I the only one getting a fun visual bug where the Fiora Vitals are just a cone on the side? Or is that just part of the skin? Because it's very bizarre.
I think that's part of the skin.
Very weird. Any case, Nicklaw gonna get the Vital procced. He's one auto away, finishes off that solo kill, going to get one for himself there. He was just walking in against BAP, got that stun on the Repose, and that was really all he needed to make that kill happen. And that's kind of why Fiora is good into Cho'Gath. The Rupture is just always repostable. It's basically saying, hello, please stun me, and that's how it works out in that one.
Yeah, and the constant pressure too. Just Cho'Gath cannot keep the damage up in a similar way. Just has the E, kind of wants to trade with the E's and then back off, and then Fiora can just keep the pressure up constantly, just constantly going in on him, proccing the vitals to stay alive. With the Conqueror as well, we'll be able to constantly...
Staying alive, though. The Rupture comes in, it's one more auto,
well,
and BAP gets a revenge kill.
All right, good night, guys. I'm done. We're over. Close it out.
That's just disrespectful gameplay from Nick. He didn't have the health bar to keep that pressure going. He could have given up a CS or two to keep himself safe. Instead, he eats every single spell that Bap has to throw at him, gives the kill back over, going to get sent back to the fountain with a gray screen, picks up a tier for himself. I'm not an expert on Fiora builds. I don't think that's standard. I could be wrong, though.
I think that actually isn't terribly bad. I think that
No,
is
I'm
one
here
that
for it
you'll
either
go
way.
through. Yeah, I believe that it might not be super standard, but I think Fiora does go for the man immune, especially because of one of the changes too was like the spells do a little bit more damage, and I believe the Q would count as a spell priority over
Here's
an
a
auto
gank
attack.
into bot lane. We see Dream Release flashing out of that Zac engage. The Gate Firewall not going to have his passive proc. He's actually going to get out of there as Turret Echo changes to Kitesbridge. So they're going to blow a couple flashes, not trade anything, just a good summoner pressure gank coming out of this Zac. Sorry, you were saying about Fiora builds?
Yeah. Yeah, not generally what you see, but should still be working nonetheless, and will get a lot of extra damage and just allow for constant fighting onto this Cho'Gath. As you can see, it is working out pretty well, but Henry might have something to say about it.
Yeah, here comes the Sejuani. Henry Waternoose has shown up. Nicklaw going to do what he can, procs the Grand Challenge, but there's not a lot he can do about a stun. There's not a lot he can do about a rupture that's cutting off his escape path. The feast is available. It's not going to get used. Henry Waternoose with the slow, going to try and get this kill onto Nick. One more auto. It's not there, and Nicklaw outplays the gank to get himself to safety. Here comes the teleport. Project Nargacuga is here. This is a Malphite who he hasn't gone back to base, actually. He hasn't fought. But he does have the ult, he does have the slam. Bap is incredibly low, he's going to go down. Henry Waternoose now with the flash something. I don't even know what happened there. I think that was the flash Q?
No, that was a flash E.
Animation was canceled on my screen. In any case, they get the kill. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Zac and the Morgana going to take that dragon. It's 2 kills for 0 in the top. It's a dragon for nothing in the bot. Hedge able to freely farm despite being in lane 1v2. So wins across the board here for 4GC.
Absolutely, there. They get the dragon, they get the kill topside. Nicklaw is just completely destroying this Cho'Gath right now, even with the ganks coming, just staying alive. And now Hedge20 a little bit caught out, but
he's fine.
Yeah, just gonna be fine.
The Gate Firewall also gonna have to hop over the wall. I think he might have been trying to sneak away that red buff, but nothing a Sejuani can do to chase a Zac when he's gonna leap over a wall and out into the void. There's only that one dash that Sejuani has, and she's not gonna be able to keep up with him.
Yeah, Malphite backing now has an extra blasting wand on this Vel'Koz right now, and pretty much just up an entire blasting wand right now. So that sucks if you are Vel'Koz.
That's just 850 gold difference.
Yeah, that's just straight up easy win, easy life.
Well, and when the Malphite gets the Unstoppable Force, well, speaking of Unstoppable, Hedge is just going to pick up a kill onto Ephemeral. He's not actually unstoppable. That's his first kill of the game, but what happened there? Was it just a binding hit and then he just died?
It was the pull from the feathers into the binding, yeah. And that's kind of just what that lane turns into. You hit one, the other is pretty easy to hit, and there's a lot of damage that can come through. Level 6 is not available at that point for either of the bot laners, so just really easy pickup and lack of respect, honestly, from Ephemeral Voids.
So, as I was going to say, Project Nargacuga in this mid lane now is up with
Scary
that much
boy.
AP. He can kill this Vel'Koz. You know, it's his trade pattern in lane at this point is Q once, Q twice, press R, kill. Like
Press R, push all buttons, win game.
Yeah, and if King Crimson eats 2 Qs before the Malphite decides to go in, he's just going to die to that. He missed entirely. Not what you want to see out of the Malphite. You know, it's kind of a really easy ability to hit, so when you whiff it entirely, that's a lot of pressure surrendered. And the Lifeform Disintegration Ray gonna turn that thing right back around, get the kill. King Crimson capitalizing on a pretty big mistake from Project Nargacuga. Didn't flash the ult or anything, it just went past him.
That one is that's what they call a caster curse, I believe.
Yeah, I did kind of curse him. I was like, heck, he's gonna kill him no matter what now.
It's real easy. All you gotta do, push 2 Qs, push R, and you're done.
Well, here comes Kitesbridge. He's going to get the binding. This time, the aggressive solo kill play from the Morgana is going to work out. In top lane, we have a gank onto Henry Waternoose, but the revenge gank is here, return gank, and now Bap is the one being focused down. Nicklaw going to be able to get the big heal off of the Grand Challenge, and now Bap alone doesn't have much to do. The feast doesn't get used in time, never was able to get the execute. Hedge on bot lane getting zoned off of the wave, popping his Featherstorm, but not going to be able to get anything. And now
Combined.
Binding connects onto Ephemeral. He's going to have to pop his own ultimate to get out of turret range safely.
Yeah, good pickup there. And Hedge playing safe enough there. Oh my goodness, these binds. And the damage coming through.
That is a max W of Morgana, 1,000 dice. I want to let you know that.
Yeah, no, I checked. That was the first thing I checked. As soon as I saw the 1 kill come through, I was like, here we go again. Nicola getting a lot of pressure on this top side as well. You can see the farm differential is getting worse and worse. 4,400 gold to 2,800 gold in that top side. And that's not going to be getting any better anytime soon.
No, no, the Fiora will just scale harder into the Cho'Gath. You know, he can build all the armor and health in the world that he wants, and she will get lots of % max health true damage that says, I don't care.
Yep. And
very sad existence as a tank.
it really is. Bat pretty much just waiting for team fights to show up and try and chomp away some objectives. I want to check right now. Only got 1 stack at level 8. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we see a engage in the mid lane. So the correct answer to that as the Malphite is to say, oh, you're ulting me, I ult you and interrupt your ult, and then you die. Unfortunately, Nargacuga didn't quite have the poke necessary to support a play like that, so he goes very low from the Life Orb Disintegration Ray. But in the meanwhile, we see Kitesbridge and the Gate Firewall taking down the Rift Herald. They're going to secure that. It goes onto the Zac, and you have to imagine this Herald is about to get plunked down top lane to support that first brick take.
Can we take a look at where Morgana is on the map?
Morgana's in the enemy blue side jungle because that's where supports go at level 8, and she's showing up to try and hit BAP, tanking the turret for the Fiora. The Zac passive going to get soloed up by this turret. It's one more shot until it goes down. You see the Cho'Gath going in for the feast. He's not able to secure the kill, but it is going to be one onto the Zac. Project Nargacuga in mid lane going onto the Vel'Koz. He's not able to get that kill through the barrier either, so it's a 1-for-1 in top. It's a lot of trading in mid. It's top turret falling for first brick, though.
Yeah, but Dragon is going to be picked up in the meantime there after all that pressure top. Mid basically just trades summoners, and trades ultimates there. So just really getting kind of frisky in this mid game and not really getting to anything major. This is a huge win, I think, for NGE. They get a lot of pressure on that bot side. They get a 1-for-1 kill, and now Nick Law is dead.
He executes, so he's not going to give over anything, just a bunch of pressure, and there's a dive in bottom lane after the dragon. Now we have our teleport coming in. Ephemeral Voids and Henry are both incredibly low. Anything will kill either of them. Project Nargacuga basically looking at a buffet. He's just deciding which one he wants to take a bite out of first. Gets that double kill, no problem. Runs into the alcove to get away from Dream Release. Dream Release going to try and kill him, but Nargacuga gets out into the bush where he can't be seen. Now Kitesbridge trying to finish off this kill. Nargacuga instead, flashing Seismic Shard. That's 3 kills to this Malphite, and he comes very close to dying to minions. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Gate Firewall going on to King Crimson. Turret shot hitting that Vel'Koz. He gets very low, has to run away. Lifeform Disintegration Ray. He's turning his laser, trying to get damage onto this Zac. Don't think he's going to get the kill, especially with the Elastic Slingshot out. So, a dive onto the Saya. 1,000 dice. Gets punished with the teleport. And that's about it.
Project Nargacuga once again.
He's huge.
Doing work. He's
5-1.
Yep. Every time. Good play, good TP to show up and get that. King Crimson, I'm gonna be a little critical there. Missed out, took a tower shot, and then the ult started way wide. If that had started correctly, that would have been a dead.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah, so paid the price. Top side, Nick Law.
Just going to dash over the wall. You see Henry trying to chase after him. None of the big CC landing. The Glacial Prison not quite available yet. Nick Law just going to stand up against the wall, and he doesn't even need to dash over it because they're not going to chase him.
That is, yeah. This is starting to look rough and rough. Bap now gonna try and fight this Fiora. Is doing a good bit of damage, but really only those E's are the only thing that's gonna hit.
Yeah, I mean Nick Law's kind of low. The feast is about to be off cooldown, but the Zac is here to try and make something happen. Can Bap get the feast off? Yes, he can. That's gonna kill the Fiora. That's gonna get him up to 3 kills. The Gate Firewall trying to kill off this Cho'Gath, but he doesn't really have the damage. It's getting low. It's slow, but it's steady, but it's going to get there. He's going to get the return kill. The Malphite came in to help. Kitesbridge, meanwhile, in the bot lane, hitting the Soul Shackles, going to get a two-man stun, going to get out that Taric ultimate. Now we have a fight on the blue buff. Project Nargacuga looking like he wants it, but he doesn't have the unstoppable force. This Malphite is not really a champion when that is not available, so they're going to lose out on this blue buff fight. They're just not playing around their cooldowns. A teleport now coming in from Nicklaw. He wants to try his hand. Both of his teammates may be dead, but he wants to try again. They're going to run away from him. He's not going to get anything, and that's going to be a big win across the board for not good enough.
Absolutely, yeah. They get the blue buff, they get the kills. Nicklaw TPing in and basically doing nothing at this point. Will be able to.
He's at risk of dying. You know, King Crimson only needs to hit a spell or two to make it happen. Nicklaw, though, going for the dive, hits the parry, gets the kill, gets killed right back. It's a 1-for-1 where he donates over an assist, so that's a win for an NGE.
Yeah, and that's after using the TP as well. Kitesbridge taking high so low, but not going to pick that one up. Overall, NGE really started to pull things back around. They get some kills onto the Cho'Gath. Nicklaw, that going in after the Zac got you out was a major mistake there completely. I think forgot about how much damage the Feast can do and just got popped as he tried to trade things out. And then the TP in not really accomplishing a whole lot now. Bot side has been fairly quiet, all things considered, outside of the teleport down onto Nargacuga, or from Nargacuga.
Just hasn't been there, right? It's been the Morgana leaving and going and doing other things. So Hedge has just been trying his best to farm 1v2. He's actually down a pretty hefty amount of farm because of that. So paying the price for that, but
yeah, now we're seeing. I'm actually curious what this actually is going to be from the Taric. That has not completed the mythic yet. Is sitting on one of the support items that is not Locket. Locket, I think, is really one of the better opportunities. Good old.
We see Nargacuga just ult out. I think he could have ulted in. He had his Morgana and Zac very nearby. So
I don't think Morgana was close enough for that, but regardless,
not good feeling to use your Malphite ult just to escape. That is your kill tool, and as I said, it's when that's not available, you're not really a champion as AP Malphite.
I'm curious what this is going to be. If this might be the Shurelya's pickup from the Taric, or it might be the Moonstone. I generally think Locket is the better option because Locket pairs so well with your ulti. It buys you just a little bit of extra time for that ulti to finish, and not having that basically means you're hoping that you don't die to the burst from this Zac and Malphite going in.
Well, here comes a fight. We see the gate firewall connecting onto this Kai'Sa. Dream Release going to go down before the Dazzling Radiance can. So that's going to be a dead Kai'Sa to start this fight off. It's a very scattered fight, you know. It was a bit of a flight
Hedge
from 4GC. Hedge finally arriving to it. Nargacuga goes down before he's able to get his ultimate off of cooldown. Nicklaw kind of on the side looking for something. Hedge getting engaged on by Henry Waternoose. The Feather Recall going to root this Sejuani up, but it's not enough to get through the tank in the early game. Now Nicklaw, the only one left in this fight. He gets chased after by the Sedge. He's running away. Bat pops the Rupture. The free post going to stun him, but it's not going to save Nicklaw's life. He's stuck in a bush 1v4. He's running for the hills, trying to see if he can do anything. There's no chance. He's just going to start channeling his recall, and that's not going to happen. No chance in the world. Going to go down to this turret. It has been 13 seconds, so it's an execute.
Oh my god. What a play there. Staying alive there. So unfortunately, though, that is still a major win for NGE as they're getting more kills onto the Sejuani of all things. Just 6-3 now. Going to be very, very tanky. And that is kind of a problem because look at the damage that 4GC have, right? You've got Xayah, who is, for an AD carry, fairly burst-oriented, right? Kind of relies on that Feather Recall to actually do the damage.
Also at like 5 CS per minute because of the way the lane's been 1v2.
Exactly.
So this Xayah is very behind.
This Xayah is very behind. Then you have the Malphite, which is really just a burst champion. You ult somebody and try and blow them up. That is not going to happen against this Sejuani that is this far ahead. So this is now becoming a problem. Really, the only one that can handle this Sejuani is the Fiora. And Fiora doesn't want to be in team fights. So they don't have anybody that can realistically fight.
Well, here's teleport from Bap. He tries to get a kill onto Kitesbridge kind of forgets the fact that Black Shield exists as an ability. Now Nargacuga being focused off by Henry Waternoose. He's trying to run away without using his ultimate. No chance that's going to happen. Uses it onto this Cho'Gath once he goes out. The Gate Firewall shows up, gets a massive Let's Bounce onto everyone. And now the teams are collapsing. Hedge is here. Kitesbridge is here. A Dark Binding is going to pick up that kill on the Sejuani. A Lifeform Disintegration Ray is going to only hit a Zanya's up Morgana. Here come the Soul Shackles. Here comes the Dazzling Radiance. Kitesbridge needs to run for the hills. One Morado is going to get him. He goes down. Project Nargacuga has to run for the hills. The Gate Firewall going back in. There's no follow-up, buddy. Your team's already dead. He's going to fall down. Now Hedge trying to see what he can do on the tail end. Going to pick up the kill onto Dream Release. Going to pop the Featherstorm to get out of the King Crimson and Ephemeral Voids. But with one last little Void Seeker, King Crimson picks up the kill. And oh, yeah, there's a... That was a 4v5.
That was a 4v5, as it's going to be the entire game. This Fiora does not want to actually show up to these fights. She just wants to push these towers, although she may have stayed a little bit too long.
Yeah, Niklaw waited for the respawns to come in. That's a little late there, buddy. You were never going to get that inhibitor turret. He's just going to give his life. We kind of did mention during draft that Niklaw pushes until he dies, and Niklaw pushes until he dies.
Niklaw, once again, coming through. As... Now we are seeing just a little bit of clawing back there. That fight was just all over the place. Bap showing up behind the tower was very confusing to me. I don't feel like there was a real good reason to be there, and it gave even more reason for Nargacuga to actually ult that direction and basically cost him his life there. So a bit of a misplay on that, and Kitesbridge also hitting a good bind there, and Hedge being able to follow up on it and get a lot of damage down after that. Gate Firewall, I'm not sure what the engage was after that. That one was really confusing to me, but I mean, I guess buying time for the Fiora did do a lot there. They got 2 towers out of it, and now they're looking for another fight.
Here's an engage from Nargacuga. He hits 2 with the Unstoppable Force. No one going down immediately, but the chase is on. The Taric is going to fall. Dream releases a target in Niklaw's eyes. He doesn't care. Grand Challenge coming out, diving into that turret. The Sejuani ultimate going to go wide. Niklaw going to eat a turret shot that kills him, but not before he gets Dream Release down. Gate Firewall now diving in. Gonna have to run away. Lifeform Disintegration Rate going to kill that Zac. He went a little too deep, you know. Niklaw is allowed to do it because he's getting a kill, but at the end of the day, it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade because of that.
And still just backing out. Nargacuga does not have ult, so will not be really useful. So Hedge 20 really the only damage threat here, and I don't think they want to keep going on this fight.
And Hedge 20 just doesn't have the damage to get through this Sejuani and the Cho'Gath unless they stand there and eat his damage for an extended period of time like they're doing right now. Here comes the Featherstorm. The recall is not there to make it happen. Kitesbridge gonna die to the Arcane Comet from King Crimson. And what was a 2-for-2 turns into a 4-for-2 in favor of NGE. They take the fight. The dragon is up. They'll go ahead and take that one too. No feast to secure it, but with their jungler up and already on the dragon, should be theirs. And they really are bringing this game back here, Thousand Eyes. It's only a 2K gold lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I just don't know what the thought process was there for Nargacuga and Hedge 20. There was no way you were going to win that fight when Malphite does not have the ult and there's 2 big tanks there. So a bit confusing there. Bap actually gonna get caught out.
Yeah, he's gonna blow his flash, but he's gonna go down anyway. Just caught on the recall by Niklaw. Shows up, cancels the recall, pops the Grand Challenge, takes a freebie. No big deal.
Yeah, now Soul Point is available on the Ocean Soul of all things. With these tanks, that is a huge win. Oh, sorry, blue team surrendered. Never mind.
Huh?
Okay. I don't think they needed to surrender that at all.
I thought they were winning that game.
That was a game they were starting to come through. I'm really confused by that one. I feel like they had a very good chance to still win that, but
they were down 2K gold. They had Soul coming up.
That also costs them the entire series.
But evidently from Twitch chat, someone on their team had to go to work.
All right. Well,
that's really anticlimactic here, Thousand Eyes. I was like about to get ready. I was mentally preparing myself for a game 5. And never mind.
All right.
That's it. It's over.
Yes, that is
what?
That is very unfortunate. Yeah. just because that okay,
Oh,
that at least makes a little bit more sense because I was looking at that like, why would they surrender that? But if you gotta go to work, you gotta go to work. That's the unfortunate reality of the world. But I mean, I guess congratulations there to 4GC for the series win.
yeah. Oh man, that's really sad. I really thought that with how NGE were playing that, they could have pushed it to game 5. Um, they were coming back so well. The Malphite that was ahead in the early game wasn't going where it needed to go. The Sejuani and the Cho'Gath were monstrous with an Ocean Soul. They would have been more monstrous. King Crimson was having a good game. The Xayah was so far behind, she was never going to kill any of those tanks. I thought they had it, and work. That's the reality of this. You're right. It's, we're all playing this League of Legends league for fun. There's no prize pool. It's not our job. So every once in a while, you got to go to work, got to FF a series. Even if it's the semifinals, real life comes first. So that's where we end up here, Thousand Eyes.
Yeah. Real life exists, unfortunately. But gonna yeah. So congratulations to 4GC. Now, credit where it's due. 4GC were still winning that game. They looked dominant in the last 2 games before that. So I think they were in position to still be able to take that home. And I think they seem to be the much stronger team. But regardless, they are going to be going into the finals, and now that big win for them.
Yeah, congrats to them. We'll see them next week at this time for the finals. So look forward to that. We'll see if that series can have as many plot twists as this one did. Hard to believe it's possible, but you never know here at Open Rampage. In any case, that I guess is going to be it from us tonight. My name is Cole Slot. Joining me on this cast has been Thousand Eyes. Our producer was Jay Docking. Thank you to both of you for helping me in casting this, or producing and casting this series. Thank you to everyone for tuning in and watching us and joining us on this adventure. And until next time, we'll see you later.